Hey y'all, what's happening? It's Tuesday. Hey y'all, okay, what's happening? It's Tuesday. You know what time it is. It is time for Conversations, and I'm so happy to have a full panel with me tonight. So the show topic is harvest time, reaping your intentions. You know, I had to get dressed for the occasion, and autumn is around the corner in 2 days, so why not jumpstart the season with a show talking about harvesting. Now, isn't play on of the cliche reaping what you sow, but we're going to take it a little deeper, at least a try to. And so I want to go around the table, around the room, and introduce everyone. So, men who needs no introductions, we have M3, Mr. Knowledge and Relationships himself. How are you doing?
Yo, doing pretty good, QB.
All
Glad to
right.
be here.
Thank you. And we have a regular on the team who likes to join us and give me a hard chance to, collab with him yet, but I'm sure he's going to give us some great insight. to the conversation. How are you doing, Vaughn?
I'm doing good. Shalom to all.
All righty. And last but not least, one of my special guests, my girlfriends in the podcast world, beyond Miss McKinney, also known as Porch Time. Welcome, Miss McKinney. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey now, everybody. Glad to be here tonight. Excited about this conversation.
All right, thank you all. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Usually I start out with a quote, but I couldn't really find one just yet to just drive our message home. So we're just going to get started. First of all, oh, I'm sorry, we have another special guest, another one of my podcast girlfriends, Miss Kim from Meet the Tylers. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me tonight. My husband will be joining me in a minute. He made a store run late, so he'll be in a minute. We're here
All
for
right.
it. Thank you, Miss Q.
All right. Well, I'm so happy to have all of you here with me. So let's just go ahead and get into, intentions. What are intentions? Intention is something that you meant to do, something that you put thought and effort into doing. I like to say, be intentional with your words, your thoughts, and your actions, because that means you do something on purpose with a purpose. So I'm going to get into um, our topic more. So acting with intentions and then reaping your rewards. So I first want to go around the room and get everyone's, insight to what is something you have been intentional about, let's just say this month, September, and you have actually seen or can see the rewards coming forth. We're going to start with the lady. So, Wally. Hi, Wally. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
All right. We're going to start with the ladies first. So, Miss McKinney and then Kim, tell us something that you've been intentional about, just say September, and that you either have seen the rewards or you're seeing, they're coming.
Oh my goodness, there's so many things that I've been working on, right? Midlife crisis and making all those changes in our lives. But I think the one thing that I want to share anyway, that I've been intentional with the most has been reaching out to old or not old family members, but family members and maybe old friends, just mending the bridge a little bit, not necessarily, building new ones or anything like that, but just, being grown about it. And I've been very proud about that. I've been happy with the results. And above all, it's made me feel good about me. So
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And we're going to get into the why and the purpose of all of that as we get into our conversation. So, Miss Kim,
Yes, ma'am.
so what is something you've been intentional about and you're seeing the rewards or have seen like think they're coming or they're here? Like, what are some intentions you've been
I
working on?
have, yes, ma'am. I have been intentionally surrounding myself with successful people,
Okay.
and it has been putting me in better positions because I thought about it for a while, and we'll get into it in a little bit, but I started realizing that the people I kept around me were not that successful. Like, yeah, they did have the basics of life that everybody has to have. But when I started, I was like, oh, I'm a little more than basic. So I'm going to need to surround myself with people that are doing bigger and better things and not to be funny with my people,
That you've
but
been cool with all this time. But
yeah, and I'm still cool with them. But if I look around and they're doing the exact same thing they were doing 5 years ago, I'm not intentionally surrounding myself with their energy. Like,
okay. Well, that's what's up. Thank you, Mr. Von Eric.
Um, my intentions is to grow a stronger relationship with my son, um,
Okay.
raise him to my best ability to see the growth that when it comes to me and him growing together as father and son, and to educate not only myself but my family and friends and unify with more people each and every day.
Okay. Thank you for that. Wally.
What was the question again?
What is something that you have been intentional about, just say the month of September, and then you either see the rewards or you see them coming?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I've been more so intentional about my YouTube channel, right? Um, Mostly for just the seeing of the growth of it, and then the prolonging of what it will be in the further tense of where I want to push it, which can develop from the outside.
All righty. Thank you so much for that. All right, Mr. Rossi.
I have been intentional with continuously pissing people off. Meeting Anton Daniels, which I did a few days ago. That was awesome. Learning a new skill, getting involved with tech, continuously investing in the stock market, learning new tangible skills and staying away from acts. Yeah.
Okay.
Man, I love the market because you could either win some or you could lose a lot.
Oh,
And this
you
is coming
can lose
from a guy, right, that at one point recently, like I made 10 grand off the stock market within like 4 days, and then I did some stupid and I blew it.
Mm-mm.
So
No.
Off of what stock?
You did what? Come on!
Off
I
of
would have took that. I would have withdrawn that and ran.
what stock in brief, if you don't mind me asking?
So I invested like in Amazon, like options calls. No, options puts. And then
Yeah.
That's
it had a
what.
rally on me for 2 days.
That's
So and I froze up, but I ain't gonna get to that part. But hey, Wally, I know you don't understand about the market though, so you won't be able to fathom what it means to go in and go out, But the market
You
is
think
fun.
so? Okay. Hey, I know just as much. Just enough.
All
right. So, Mr. M3, let's talk about your intentions for the month of September.
Okay. The month for September, you talking about for like October, because September is about to end.
What are some things you've done intentionally for this month? We still got 2 weeks, a week and a half, whatever.
Well, I mean, getting to like the market was one of them. I would say like in the first 2 weeks, just learning about myself and just learning like how to like really, you can't really time the market, but you could. What I learned is that the more money you have, the more you'll be able to invest in. But also at the end of it, I'm like, okay, I have to think like an investor still. So part of me, like, a big part when people, they lose something, they want to give up. But for me, I'm always going to be determined.
Okay.
So you got to keep reading. You got to keep studying. That's some of the things that I do. Most of my reading time is learning about the market and dabbing into the news a lot. When it comes to these certain companies, and the S&P 500 and all that stuff. But, when you're down, hey, invest something small and then gradually grow into that.
Okay.
If I could do it with $2,000, I could do it with $1,000 as well. But
I tried it for a while. Based on what was going on in my life at that time, I just couldn't keep it up. So, but I mean, I'm kind of put something in another market and just let it grow. And I don't want to have to watch it. Like, that's just not for me. I know my weaknesses. That's just not for me.
Yeah, I get you though.
All right. I want to give a shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Thank y'all for holding down. Everybody that's watching, please smack that like button. Share this stream with somebody else. So Arshan, who says salute. Justice Splash, who's speaking to everybody. Miss Sophia. Vaughn Bryant, greetings, peace, and love, and longevity. Thank you for checking in. And thank you, moderators, for everything you're doing in our stream. So, yeah, get those people in and get them liking and all that jazz. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the next thing. So, when you are set intentionally, you act out of your intentions you basically create control for your life. You know what you want to happen. Um, Let me ask you this: has there ever been any moment you just kind of went blindly into something in your life without taking the time to actually plan it, and it fell apart literally like wet tissue paper? So we're gonna go around in order this time. We're gonna start with M3.
Uh, well, see, if I talk about the market again, it's going to be the same thing.
I mean, that's fine.
I,
That's what stands out for you.
I mean, okay. I want to talk about something about the market, but look, I know for a fact, besides the market, there's times that I took a risk in trying to invest into this small business or invest into um, a group of people that will put their dollar into it, match it with someone else, and then allow that dollar to grow into something. So I learned that there are still scammers that's out there. Wasn't like too much to invest in, but it was just enough for me to really understand why it's not good to deal with business with other people. And sometimes you gotta do it yourself, even if it's the slow route.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and you'll be surprised. Sorry to interrupt, but you'll be surprised how many people I've had to send out of my DMs and my inbox with that, them extra trader messages. Like, I understand that that's your
Cryptos.
business, if that's your business, but that's scams. Most of that is scams. Like, I know enough to know that it's not all real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're next, about. Were you done, Mr. M3?
I'll say this one last thing too.
Go ahead.
People get scammed into fall into the trap of YouTube viewership, and because I had previous experience of just understanding that if somebody's trying to come to you and say, hey, I want to promote your channel by a small fee, maybe like $100, okay, and I will send your links out to a whole bunch of people and they'll subscribe to you. Not realizing that people will set you up to try to add bots into your network, and that's something that you definitely don't want to do. So, but I know there's some people that will deliberately pay for subscribers, and knowing that you're not gonna get nowhere with it. So, yeah, definitely be careful with that.
Okay. Thank you. Kim,
Yes, ma'am.
what is something that you didn't plan? Like you didn't set your intentions and it fell apart. Like I said, wet tissue paper.
I've sometimes in the podcast world, I've agreed to be parts of shows that fell apart almost immediately after we done a show or two, and I'm not quite sure the reasons, but we just gotta keep pushing. But it did fall apart because here I've got my hopes we're gonna have this amazing show, and they never really had plans to make it do anything anyways. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So it seems like they failed to plan. They failed to outline and create a structure for whatever they were trying to do.
Right. And I failed to follow through as much as I should. That's the part I should have mentioned my part in it, because I didn't stay on them like I should have. And that's why I feel like a part of it fell apart too, because if we had a great plan, what happened in a matter of nobody's saying nothing, nobody knows nothing, nobody, so it's weird, but that was my bad. I shouldn't have just assumed that they would keep going without me. You know what I'm saying? So
okay. Alrighty, so we're gonna get into some steps on how we can turn things around and really make our intentions work for us. All right, so Rosie, anything you would like to share? And you're on mute, by the way.
So you're saying referring to what
Well, there's
staying
something,
away. Go ahead.
um,
No, go
well,
ahead.
there's
Go ahead.
something that you did in life. You didn't put enough thought and plan into it. Like you didn't think it out. You just went head first, and it just fell apart.
Yeah, going to the strip club and trying to smash all you women. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So what? Your pockets fell apart because of?
Nah, it was just like, you know what I mean, just going after a chick because she looked good, and I'm just trying something to fuck. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty then. Thank you.
Oh, did I share too much?
No, no. Like we can keep it real here. Like
That's
that's
what
where.
makes a panel fun is honesty.
No, we
I
can't.
think.
Okay. Von, Eric.
Um, business wise, yes. When I had opened the bar, I didn't do. I should have did more proper research as far as the demographic, the area, and things like that. What I was going to have in it. I went in too fast because I just wanted to own another business.
Okay.
So I didn't do proper research like I supposed to.
And that will get you every time.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Alrighty. Wally.
Yeah, I agree with Von Eric on this one. Yeah, the research part is really the key of it all. Even though, like, because I always say this, like, for me, like starting my channel, if I had to rethink to actually look around other channels that follow my main frame of what I do, then I would probably move differently than what I would have did currently beforehand.
Well, is it too late to move differently now, or are you doing?
No. That's my thing. So when I say that, right? Because what I'm saying is this: if I say based upon my channel, right, and I say to myself, okay, how much other people do this, and then amongst those people, are they professionals or are they just someone that is just prolonging it because they're doing it themselves as they go? What is really different? What is what they do, and then and then looking at myself, and I'll be like, okay, then I have to differentiate myself from them so that I actually have room to actually grow. So I already did that. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. And Miss McKinney, last but not least.
Absolutely. I'm gonna stick with the podcasting like everyone else. Jumped out there and wanted to do something and see what happens. I've had some tissue paper moments, absolutely for sure. But I've also been lucky enough to link up with people like you guys who have, helped me along the way. So yeah, I do wish that I had planned some things out a little bit better, took a different direction in some places. But hey, that's how we live and learn, right? That's how we live and learn.
Alrighty. Awesome. Thank you all for sharing that. Want to give a salute to people in the chat. Thank you for holding down Marcus, who's always giving all the shout outs. Daryl Long, the Radical, and Wealth Talk Productions. That's you, Wally. Wealth Talk Productions.
You know it. I'm coming full support.
All right then. All right, so let's go in with, okay, I found a quote I think will kind of help. So every morning you have two choices: continue to sleep with your dreams or wake up and chase them. It's one thing to set intentions, write them down, think about them, whatever. But if you don't put one foot in front of the other, like you all said, do your research, lay out a plan, talk to people, find out who's doing what and how what they do can help you. Like if you don't put the work into it, then it's not going to really work. It's just going to be you spinning your wheels in mud, like literally in mud. So you have to make a choice. It's one thing to have intentions, but it's then another thing to act on them. Well, let's talk about, okay. So step one to kind of turn things around, making sure your intentions are set in purpose. You got to define your core values. So I'm going to read this little piece. Think about a time in your life when you were most happy, a time when you had to pinch yourself to realize that you were not dreaming. what was happening, where were you, who were you with. So when you look at those conditions, you look at, what things do you value. So we're going to go around again. I know this is class participation. Um, let's talk about your values. Is it something you really thought about? Some people don't even think about what do they really value in life, on their job or whatever. So we're going to start in opposite direction, Miss McKinney.
So now I wish you would have started in the other direction because I've got so many, right?
Well, just
And
go
and that's the
outside.
good thing about getting older is now you start to realize that some of those little moments aren't really that little. They're just big moments that are awesome. Some of those times would be seeing my son graduate and then go off to college, some successes that I've had in my career, even some of the little successes that I've had during doing podcasting. Like you said that, and I was sitting there thinking, I'm going to be last. That's good because I can pick one, but there's so many I really can't even pick. And
Uh,
what a question to make me think. I appreciate that.
so, and also think about your values. Okay, so going down into um, those moments, your core values could even be stuff like friendship, relaxation, the being around music, being active. For you, it was seeing your son graduate. So, accomplishments, things of that nature. So, try to, sometimes it's hard to put a tangible word to your values, but if you had to, what are some things that come to mind? Being creative, those of us who are in the podcast and YouTube world, being creative is a value for us. But I'm gonna stop talking and move on down the road. Miss McKinney, you want to jump in with something else?
Hardworking.
Okay,
Hmm.
alrighty. So that's one of your values. This should be every one of everybody's values, but my
Oh, we're
opinion.
listing up all of them. Loyalty.
No, just
Oh, okay. Stop me
just
because
some
I
things
got a
that
list.
just some things that stick out for you. Like, what are some of your values that you center your work around? So that's one way to help define and set your intentions. Is what do you value in life? So, alrighty, and we'll come back and discuss that a little more.
Okay.
Wally,
All right. So the question is
it's about your
around your
core
work.
values.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. So one of the biggest value I would say is being willing to learn no matter what at all forms.
Okay,
That's a big value. Because doing this alone, it took a lot of learning.
okay,
So, yeah, from all aspects, either from the channel aspects to knowing what to do and what to put in, to even learn editing and everything else of that nature. So yeah, it took a lot.
Did that make you flip tables right there? Oh gosh, yeah, trying to learn all this stuff, put it together, make it work. Oh, okay. You want to share something else?
I'm gonna keep it that simple.
Okay, all right. Vaughn.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of Wiley. When you said learning, educating is my biggest value. Self-educate or go get an education from an establishment. But I really, that's my biggest value. Researching before and patience before you make a drastic move. That's
Okay.
my biggest value.
Alrighty. Mr. Razik.
I value honesty.
Okay.
I value the ability to be transparent. And I value the ability to be truthful at all times. I hate liars. Sneaky. Like just sneakiness.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
People who try to get over and under and around without just being straightforward and adult about matters.
No, I mean not even that. It's just
Okay.
the ability to be transparent You know what I'm saying? The ability
Okay.
to be, visible, even when it's not, flattering. If that
Okay.
makes any sense. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Kim.
Okay, so I value loyalty,
Okay.
I value respect, and I value a strong network because work in this industry, I've realized that your network is your net worth.
Okay.
So the people that you choose to be intentional with, you have to choose the intent behind who you're being intentional with because it works. So, mm,
Okay. All righty. And Mr. M3, you on mute? Oh,
Okay. For me, I value time
okay.
because you will never be able to get that back. So anyone who doesn't really value my time, I take offense to that because you could be doing so many other things. You could be spending time with other people, but when you choose to spend time with that particular person, and maybe they flake or they reschedule, wherever the case may be, you know, you just took that portion of time away from me
Okay.
because you'll never get it back.
Okay. I got you. Now, if y'all want to discuss, and anybody can jump in here. So think about a time when you were angry. Somebody just pushed all your buttons. And did your values come into play? Were you able to take a pause and like, okay, let me reflect on what I value? I'm gonna just say for me, I don't get into physical fights, um, face to face things when I don't like to argue like that. But two, I don't like to fight. I just don't like. That's just not me. I will cut or shoot somebody. I'm just gonna be. That's my truth. But I value freedom. I value freedom wholeheartedly because I've made some mistakes in my 20s, and I value freedom. So I just know how to avoid, you know, having my freedom taken away from me.
Right?
Anybody want to jump in on that? Like, have you been faced with something that tested you and you had to like activate your values, whatever they may be, and say, okay, you know what? You ain't not today, not today.
Yeah, I mean, I see. I don't think what people don't understand is that every day you be tested, whether if it's noticeable or non-noticeable. You're gonna be tested by someone. Life is gonna test you. Kids around you that's gonna test you. You know, hell, your co-workers or parents, whoever, they're gonna test you, and it's up to you and how you respond, how you react in the situation. And sometimes, hey, you may have to let loose, like unleash the beast on them, you know. Or other times, you just gonna have to just go on about your business and just let them live another day. That's all.
Yeah, because I keep a blade on me at all times. So just remember that anybody that
Uh-uh.
try to step to these highways.
I'm with you guys on that one as far as I think my mistakes were a little more recent, Miss Q, probably like in my 30s. My loyalty or my values is what drives me, I think, to want to fight. It's now that
Oh,
I don't necessarily have to cut you physically. In my, I think I've graduated to possibly words or maybe even being able to be quiet, but I'm with you. But I think it's my values that make me mad enough to, want to get physical or want to get with you.
all righty. Thank you. Anybody else want to jump in?
Nah, I'm just chilling.
Okay. Well, look, we're gonna move on. Marcus in the comment section cutting up, talking about don't forget the value of cooking sandwiches, Marcus. Okay. Always come with the jokes, Marcus. All right. So now that you have outlined what your core values are, next you need to set your goals and make sure they are in sync with your values. Like, where do you want to go in life? I know sometimes it's hard to think even 1 year out, let alone 5 to 10 years out. But if you don't start making some kind of plans, planting some kind of seeds, preparing for your harvest, then you're going to be kind of stuck, when you get down the road. We can go back to investing. Same thing. If you don't put your money somewhere in something, investing your time, your money, whatever, investing your self into learning, so things like that. Let's just talk about some goals that we have. Like, so from here to, let's shoot a thing 5 years ahead. Hopefully nobody wants to be in the exact same space, maybe even 2 years ahead. So let's go 2 to 5 years. We're going to start with Von Eric.
2 to 5 years to accomplish goals? As far as
and then, like, what are some goals you have set for yourself? And then think about if they align with your values.
But then I would have to go back with my son because he's young now. So, I value education. So I would want a goal that he reach his highest point that he is able to reach and making us accomplish it and achieve ahead of time before he goes out in the world and try to deal with the world, how it's set up now.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Razi?
I plan to own a professional sports team.
Okay.
I plan to be on the ability to gain entry to the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay.
I plan to have about 30 million or more, and probably about in the next maybe about 6.5 years. That's my goal.
Those are some awesome goals.
What team? What team? What sport?
More than likely it'll probably be the NBA.
Okay.
And if it's not the NBA, then probably my second choice would be the XFL.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if y'all have seen the news clips, but the XFL is now offering up to 45% ownership.
Yeah.
At a 1.5 million price hold. You know what I'm saying? That is being owned by Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and it was somebody else. I forgot his name, but yeah.
That would be a good one to go. Best one to go to.
Isn't his ex involved too? Dwayne Johnson's ex-girlfriend? I mean, not ex-girlfriend, but
Jennifer Lopez. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she. I don't know her exact. You know what I'm saying? Her exact asset hold, but yeah, she does have a significant. A significant amount of money involved in that. Yes.
Yeah, I would go with the X at that one instead of the NFL or the ones the industry it is today, because you may own it, but then you don't own it. You piss them off, they can take ownership from you. So yeah, I would go with the X.
That's not entirely true though. That's not entirely true. And the reason why I said it is because if you understand corporations with like S corps and how they're actually designed, you know what I'm saying? Even say for instance, okay, let's just say like the NBA. I ain't trying to go a rabbit hole, but just just add on to his point. But let's just say like the NBA is at 100, billion a year. You know what I'm saying? 1% or 0.008% of that would be less than like 5 mil. You know what I'm saying? Even to become a minority owner, so you would still even be able to have a seat at the table for any type of like executive moves. And that's just something that I've learned in the past few months. So,
you talking about okay? But I was talking about more so as far as majority owner, like the LA Clippers.
Nah.
They took the team from them. So
yeah. Nah. I And and just for saying safety, saying purposes, I'm not trying to be a majority owner, but I do want to have a seat at the table of one
Oh,
of
okay.
those teams. Yeah,
I got
indeed.
you. Yeah, I got
And that's what's up. Hopefully, I can be a commentator, and I will be your go-to person to interview all of your players. Razik, I'm just putting that in the atmosphere.
Oh, what happened? I'm sorry. We just say that one more time.
Hopefully, I'll be your go-to person to do all of your interviews because I'm that chick. I'm that person.
Oh, I shit. I mean, to be, pull up at at one of them little press, saying, boxes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah.
I've been watching more football lately with my brother, and so I'm trying to learn a little something. I'm trying to expand my palette and my skill set. Hey, anywho, it's not about me right now, so we're gonna move on. Miss Kim, what are some goals you set, and do they align with your values?
Absolutely. At first, they didn't align with my values because I always said I didn't want to be a part of this industry because I've always freelanced in this industry, but I kept a 9 to 5 reality job because it paid the bills, because this industry don't just pay the bills. You have to pay the bills until it pays you. So yeah, it going into this industry really tried my values. Like, I had to have a sit down with my husband. I had to have a sit down with my family, everything, when I chose to go into this industry, because I am not that in front of the camera, in your face. I'm a very private person in real life. So the thought of being a celebrity, or the thought of being an important executive in a company or something like that gets a lot of attention, it literally sent me into anxiety in the beginning. So
All right, so then think about.
I got a special guest, Miss Q.
Hey, Nelson.
Hey, Miss Q, it's been a minute. How you doing?
All right, what's going on?
How everybody doing?
All
Pretty
right,
good. How you
everybody,
doing,
this
sir?
Work,
is the
work,
second half of Meet the Tyler.
Yeah, that's Mr. Tyler.
Man,
you. Nice to meet you, Tyler.
Yeah,
nice
nice
to meet you too. Likewise.
All right, so do
Did
you
you
want to
hear her
jump in this
question, Ben?
conversation?
Say it again. The question.
Ask her, babe.
What was the question?
So you want to jump in? So we're talking about goals and intentions, like making plans on, where you see yourself in the next 2 to 5 years, and do your goals align with your values? What do you value in life, and do your
Honestly,
goals line up with
sorry
that?
to cut you off, but I had to learn that no goal is too high.
Okay.
No goal is too high and no goal is too low. There's different types of goals. Like, I used to be the type to be like, oh no, that goal is too high. I ain't gonna be able to achieve that in that amount of time. But then as life went on, as I, experienced life, I realized that, wait a minute, ain't no goal too high. Ain't no, long as you set yourself boundaries and basically do what you can handle, and always push yourself, you're going to meet that goal,
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And plus, we got more conversations, so hope you can hang around for a while. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize my online bestie, Miss Queen.
How you doing?
What's up, Queen?
Hi everyone. What's up,
What's
M3?
up, Queen? How you doing?
M3, the sun went down already. I don't know why you got on shade. I got a message too.
Well, I saw you coming up, so I had to be ready at all costs.
Yeah, because I'm so bright. Shine bright like a diamond. There you go. So anyway, how y'all doing?
Oh God. Okay, so we're gonna come back to you, Miss Queen, because I want you to get your thoughts together.
Okay.
All right. So when Von, Razik, Kim. So we're gonna go to Miss McKinney. So think about 2 to 5 years. What does it look like? And do your goals line up with your values?
Absolutely, they do. Hey, Miss Queen. Good to see you tonight on this platform. My
Hello.
goal is just to be happy. You know, I keep preaching that midlife thing and all that good stuff. And hard work is a value of mine. I've always applied it, but in other places, like
Okay.
my career, making other people happy. So, yes, my value of hard work aligns as long as I put that hard work into myself now aligns with my goal of being happy by any means necessary. Like Malcolm said, by any means necessary, this queen is going to be happy.
All righty. Thank you. All right, Wally, and then M3,
Excellent.
and then Kim. I mean Queen. Sorry.
You gonna go N3 or should I?
Go ahead, Wally.
Wally.
Nah, nah. All right. So in the next 2 to 5 years, what do I see myself? For one, seeing my channel get monetized. That's one focus. Another one is I'm having this ideal that's gonna set up another way so I can monetize some type of form of income.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure if it's gonna fall through yet. Three is to be able to help my family get out of this area that we're living in, the
Okay.
location overall. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
All right. M3, and then Queen.
Look,
Y'all
the
got big
next,
shoes to fill after Razik laid out his cups.
look. In the next 2 years, okay, I want to make sure that one, get out of debt. Two, retire myself while still working at the same time because I like doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And three, well, shoot, it might not even be 2 years from now. Shoot, it might be 2 months from now. But hopefully, we get the Notch relationship crew monetized. We're very close to it. I'm not going to, say the numbers. I'll let you guys watch it yourselves. But hopefully, we get up to where we want to be at, and maybe Queen could finally get her what's it called reparations like that.
That's right. I'm coming for you. I know where you live. I want my check. I'm gonna see you in court if I don't get my money. I need my knowledge of relationships and reparations. You right.
Reparations and relationships. Yeah. So yeah. So hopefully we get up there though. I mean, I know we will. So.
Alrighty. And Queen, I know you
You
got a
said-
whole lot of stuff on your goal list.
The main thing I want to be able to, I mean, so much is happening and it's like right there. I just want to go and come as I please.
Okay.
Me and the king, I just want us to be able to go and come as we please. We're like inches away from these things happening. There's so many opportunities that if I could multiply myself, I could take them all. I have to say no to a lot of stuff that's coming my way. But, yeah, that's the main goal. I want to be able to come and go as I please. I want to be able to, within the next 2 years, but I really believe it's going to happen way before that. Be able to, do my little self-care with my colleagues, and him, and just go anywhere and say it's a business trip. Like that's where I'm at. I'm on the edge of like major things happening. So I really feel like I just want to stay grounded mentally and emotionally so that I can really walk into it and not run into it and fall. That makes sense.
Okay.
So yeah.
You said go and come as you please. You think you Neo in the Matrix?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
I got you.
Hey, Von Eric. Ain't nobody asked for the peanut gallery. You know what I mean?
I got you. You Neo. Okay, I got
That's
you on
right.
your
That's
Neo.
right. I am the new Neo. No, I'm not the Neo. My
Oh.
my better half is the Neo.
Okay, but they reason I said Neo because the other half, his other half, they won together.
That's right.
They
That's
won.
right.
You know?
That's
So when
right.
I say Neo, I'm saying the Queen, and when I'm saying the Queen, I'm saying Neo.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right.
But the
I
K
would-
comes before the Q.
I got you. I got you. But
And
I
I think I'll let M3 come. I don't know about that. We might put him on Amtrak or something. We can't hear you, M3.
I went to Miss McKinney. She said midlife. What does she mean? I just want to see where her heart is.
Okay, because I'm 45 and ain't no midlife over here.
Right.
Oh,
So what she mean by midlife? She's at a midlife crisis, or midlife, the part is where she's at in her life.
The part is where I'm at in my life is midlife. Yes.
Okay.
There's been no crisis yet, and I think that's because I'm sticking to my core values and deciding to do what it takes to make me happy. Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to get clarity.
But I consider seeing 90 a blessing as well. I'm just
Yes,
saying.
ma'am.
Right. I got you.
Yes, ma'am, indeed. So my goals include I want to be at Oprah status. Can I get there in 5 years? It's possible. But in 2 years, I want to have my own show, TV show, or radio show that's syndicated around the world. Like, I want that for myself. And I want to have an office space, preferably in my home, that's all plushed out. I'm a true girl at heart, so it's going to be all pink and chrome and gold. Anyway, I see myself sitting at my computer, preparing for my next show and having an assistant taking my calls. And I value high quality. I value, like M3 said, time. I value structure. And I also want to be at a place where I can give back. I want to help fund, if not completely fund, one endowment or scholarship, to some underprivileged group that serves young ladies, specifically teenagers. So, yeah, those are things that are on my goal list.
So when you say TV show, you talk about TV show on like a main network or the news? Or you talk about TV show as far as, because they got a new thing coming out now that they will broadcast your show through like Hulu, Roku, and things like that. Are you talking in that aspect or main network?
If it starts out on Roku or whatever other network, sure. But eventually, yes, I would love to be on a major network. And that may be, 10 years versus 5. But you know what? I serve a higher power who can do anything. So,
right.
And as long as I'm putting in the work, I'm keeping myself in alignment, I'm walking with intentions and purpose, I am not going around essing on people, just to come up, then y'all know I'm not really a cursor, but you know what I mean. I'm not stepping on people just to rise up, anyhow.
It was interesting. Razi, you said about owning a team. So when you invest, you want to sit on the board. When you go on the board, what changes that you want to have when you first get on the board when it comes? Because it's not many of us that sits on the board.
Yeah.
What change that you want to have when you go sit on the board of a sports team?
Well, I mean, I'm not really going to have any type of executive power by becoming, a minority owner. So in order to have, executive, voting rights, or to be persuasive enough, you would have to own or become a, majority shareholder, owner. So, that isn't necessarily, a goal of mine. And I don't care about, making a change. I think things are fine the way they are. But my concern is just, the money. To be honest. All I care about, is the money. I mean, and not to say like that's all I care about, but I mean, you know, that is the ultimate goal. We do, you know what I mean? Like, no matter like what you do, everything always it revolves around some money. But like I said in the back chat, I do have a question
Go
for
ahead.
everybody on the panel, because and this may be controversial in a lot of ways, but I'm noticing, and I was having a conversation with somebody probably about like maybe about a week and a half ago, and I said the way media is going now, the market is already over saturated. You know what I'm saying? Rated, like highly. And I made this analogy, and I'm going to give it to everybody here. In the 80s and the 90s, there was a trope that was always mentioned, and it said, either you sling crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. So, and I say that to say there was a trope trying to illustrate that either you're going to play sports or you're going to sell drugs in order to, you know what I'm saying, make it. Now, to fast forward that, or to finish my, comparison, in this technological age, right? Everybody wants to be on YouTube, and I don't know why. I think people are very lazy in finding other creative ways. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't have a TV show. Everybody can't have the #1 podcast. Everybody can't be the #1 TikToker. It's impossible. It's impossible. Even by a metric number of standards, it is impossible because the market is overcrowded. It is entirely overcrowded. And
we agree.
But and I just wanted to put that out there. And obviously one your lady said that she does agree. Does everybody else agree, or what's y'all's thoughts?
Let me myself. All right, I'll say this. This reminds me of how like Uber and Lyft, how their business kind of started. Now like because I think Uber started first. When Uber came out, like they didn't have like a lot of drivers, but drivers that did took over, they had like a lot of routes, a lot of pickups. So there was this big hype that if you join Uber, man, you could quit your job. You could make $100 or $200,000 like a year because you're making so much money just off of driving, but nobody wasn't really thinking about the expenses and the longevity of it. So to fast forward things, more people started getting into Uber. Okay. And although we still have our low taxes or whatever, they still haven't been fully part of the job. But you have regular people, who doesn't really have like the people skills signing into like Uber. So now you have a whole community of Uber drivers to the point that Uber became oversaturated. Now business boomed off for them, but who did it affect the most? The drivers. Because now you could barely find anybody to pick up because you have this driver on this location, that driver on that location. Uber used to cut off, okay, they used to take a 20% cut. And then it moved up to 25%. I don't know how much it is now. I'm for sure maybe it'll probably increase over time. Of course, inflation is going to be the excuse of it.
But they offer benefits now.
Oh well, that's
because
that's
they
good.
were gonna get shut down at one point. So if you drive a certain amount of hours, you have which then it becomes like a regular job because you have to meet these criteria where before you were just open to do whatever. But if you drive a certain amount of hours, they offer you medical and dental because that's why the government was going to shut them down at one point. Yeah.
Well, with the medical and
And now,
dental,
and then they also oversaturated because,
Mhm.
you know, before you had to have your car, then they started offering, they would finance you a car. I mean, your payments was like $600-700, I think every 2 weeks or something like that. But if you're driving, you made it and you didn't have to worry about qualifying for a car on your own. And now Lyft, what they do is they rent you a car. I think they both, instead of financing now, they do a rent-a-car program where they get you a rent-a-car, you pay a certain amount a week. And if you drive a certain amount, you can just keep it and, you know, whatever.
Yeah, they was falling under what they was doing, because I had the same problem when I had my contracting company. When they had people drive under, they were saying that people was 1099, but the things they was offering to people, it went into the law as far as them being an employees. So and they was doing that because they was, you know, didn't want to pay, like what you said, like Miss Queen said about the benefits and stuff like that. So the things they was offering, because it was, my insurance company was coming, because I had to give my employees, my 1099 phones. Once I gave them a phone, it falls under a W-2. It could be looked at that they're an employee, not a 1099.
Yeah, but the whole point of me even bringing like Uber up is going back to like Raziq's comment. YouTube is oversaturated with a lot of content creators, and not everyone is built for content creation. If all this stuff was going to be equal, look, everybody would be having a slice of the pie. Yeah, there's money out for everyone, but not everyone is going to get discovered. You have some people, they start up a YouTube channel within a few days or maybe a few hours, and then boom, you know, the algorithm gives them the most attention, and now they have a certain fan base of subscribers. Whereas, like, you probably had started your YouTube channel like 10 years ago, and you had to slowly, gradually move up. So everything is not going to be equal for someone. And you have to try to find the best hot topics to engage into your audience. Because now these days, everyone has an attention deficit. You log into something, you watch something for a few minutes, man, you're ready to tune out most of the time. So I do agree to what you were saying, Raziq, earlier, that you know, everybody can't be like a YouTuber. Now, as far as like, you know, doesn't make them lazy, that part, honestly, I'm not really for sure. So it's not like I'm going to disagree, but it's like a question mark in my head. Because the thing is, it takes a lot of work to even do content creation. But I guess if the motive is you don't like hard labor, and if you think that's the easy scapegoat, then maybe we could drift into saying that, okay, that person's being lazy, you know?
Well, okay, so let me kind of clarify, if I may. When I say lazy, you know what I'm saying? Not like saying that, I mean, because, you know, pretty much like anything you do, you're going to have to work, you know what I'm saying? Regardless, right? But I'm saying like the prerequisite in getting involved in, you know what I'm saying, YouTube and Instagram and, you know what I'm saying, all these little, you know, social media, you know what I'm saying, outlets, I think, you know, it's like it's kind of creating a level of laziness because of how easy it is. You know, it's not like you know, like 15, you know what I'm saying, years ago, where you really had to have, you know, a buildup of having a set, you know, like qualifications of being able to say, okay, well, I graduated from this college, I have this degree, I'm qualified to do this. I did some type of internship for like 2 years, a year and a half. You know what I'm saying? And I slowly like moved up. Like the entry level to YouTube is extremely low. You know what I'm saying? Because all it takes is a phone and some internet. That's all. That's all it is. And everybody, all of us, we all have an opinion about whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And just by me being an observer, which is the main reason why I brought that up, because I know some people keep you know what I'm saying, asking me. They be like, well, the way I talk, you know what I'm saying, you ought to have your own channel. And every time I push back on, I have no desire to want to get into YouTube at all, at all. I like, and I'm almost to the point, that I really don't even like it. Just to be honest, you know what I'm saying? Because and I don't like it because, particularly with black folk, and this is just, what I'm saying. And again, it's going to be a very, pushy issue, but a lot of these conversations are very circular, just to be honest. And there are a lot of people that I've never heard of. And it's like they're all having the exact same conversation and getting nowhere. This is why I say the market is is overcrowded. And again, I've been a main advocate of saying, I rarely see, more so of people talking about money and the value of that, how to leverage that. You know what I'm saying? How to get into the stock market. You know what I'm saying? And which is a huge untapped market. I don't know if y'all noticed, but almost over 80% of foreign countries are not even involved in the market. And I say that to say because in the long term, what I think is going to happen, based off the things that I've read so far, is that when people start to have resources that allow them to invest off of the phone, brokerage accounts, when you look at Charles Schwab, JP Morgan and Chase, E-Trade, et cetera, the market is going to boom. And it's going to boom so much. Like if you ever know anything about like quantitative easing, the money is going to become so valuable that if you're not investing, it's almost going to be impossible for you to even get in because the entry level is going to continuously increase. So just something to kind of, to put out there.
I just think, well, it depends on. Yeah, I do agree. It's oversaturated, but I think if you go by what Miss Jones the questions that she's been asked, if you let that be your focal point, and whatever you do, even though it's oversaturated, you can accomplish your goal. You just have to come up with different ways, research whatever you want to do. Like one of my best journalists that I like is Brian Gumbel. The way he asks questions and the way he go about his segment on the Real Sports, even though it's oversaturated, even on cable, you have different sports shows. But he's been number one for years due to his talent and due to what he applied to get to where he is. There's a lot of people, it's oversaturated in sports, but look at the people that do make it in acting, but look at the people that do make it. That doesn't mean you can't make it. You just have to, like she's been saying, as far as your value, what you want, even you want to go on to an oversaturated as far as owning a sports team or be owner to be invested in. You know how many people that wants to do that? How many millionaires? How many billionaires? But yet you can accomplish it because of your value. So you can still get to number one or get to number 4, number 5.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, I want to dip out.
Okay.
But this was definitely like a great show. So as always, but I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, M3.
All right.
I see you.
All right, no problem. All right, take
it easy, brother.
I would like to add something else and then still keep the floor open for everyone else to jump in on the question. I want to say welcome to Alonzo Hall. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so my input on that question is, yes, I would love to be on TV, radio, and everything like that. However, I already have one business. I can't talk about it too much because I'm still in the building phases of it, but it's outside of media. It is going to create quite a bit of income, once I really get into it. There are other business ideas that I've had. I have a list in my notes section on my phone of other ways that I want to expand myself to utilize my skills and talents, such as an accessories line, makeup line. I'm a community-based person, so I want to do life coaching, things of that nature. And then I also, again, by me making money in my other ventures, I want to help fund someone else. I want to be that person that takes that application for a grant that can help, if not pay all of it, pay the majority of it. So yes, I want to be in the media space. Everything I'm doing is not just for me. I want to make sure my son has something to fall back on whenever it is my time to go. If I do have grandchildren, whatever the case may be, I want to leave a legacy. So, and that's just my take on it. That's just me. But being in the media, being in front of the camera, that's a means to an end, and I actually love it. Vaughn mentioned how he loves how Brian Gumble speaks. There are certain people that I only watch when it comes to newscasters and podcasters and people on YouTube. I like their perspective, how they talk. And it's not because I always agree with them. They just have a way of presenting the information in a way that grabs my attention. But I'm going to fall back and I'm going to give everyone else a chance to answer the question. Queen, would you like to jump in?
Yeah, let me jump in real quick.
Who? Wally? Okay.
Yeah.
Wally.
So to Razi's on the question, right? So to YouTube being oversaturated, I mean, that's obviously true. I mean, there's about probably billions of YouTubers out here one way or another. But to ultimately say, are people lazy? It's a catch-22 because, in most cases, yes, and in other cases, no. I think more cases than not, I have to ask myself, what is your intentions on being on YouTube more than anything else? That's the first thing. Because I'll say most cases than not, most people are just doing it as a hobby. And most people say, hey, but if it gets to 1K, it's like they'll work it out in another way, right? If it get monetized, yeah, they'll do something else amongst that. But but that's my whole thing, right? You just doing it, just do it. You just get a kick out of it for what it is for the time being. But for me, I always said this was just, it's a nice plot for me to say, here's something I like to wrap myself around, but it's not going to be the end all be all, right? And I'm just giving you a nice premise of what I'm working with and what I want to work around in the near future. But also, I also sit here and say, there's a lot of groundwork with doing a YouTube channel, especially when you're the main one doing the whole thing on your own self, because there's the editing process, there's the understanding of the analytics, knowing when to do a post or do anything of all these natures, on all this wraparound, like what's making you more seeable or inspired amongst your content overall. There's a whole lot of getting and going in this to the point where you have to look at it. Because my thing is right now, right? So one of the big things that I had to do to really develop my game is to actually start learning how to edit. Because I'll say this, for my past work, I probably did more live streams than anything else. And in that same sense of to Roger's question, that is more of a sense of being lazy, because you can just click a button and say, hey, go live, and then just talk from that point on. But when it comes to doing that editing, that's a whole different ballgame. You cut it in and out the moment you make a mistake, all that yin yang yo. So you always got to rinse and repeat yourself every single time you're trying to do the editing process. So now it's like, and especially when you're doing it on your own, now you really got to really do that heavy work and load. And then to top it off, use every other skill set you have to understand. Because right now, me learning editing, someone I know right now, they wanted to see what I can do with editing because they want me to help them. I showed them what I can do. They saw the video and they were actually, you know, decent surprised with my work. And, you know, they're willing to work with me when they have the time to actually connect with me and see what I can do for them amongst whatever they want me to do for them. So, and from that point on, also understanding this as well, because this also can get you in other markets, not just as an editor, but also as quote unquote their social media manager and whatnot, like that, because this is a social media and you're understanding that analytic board and you understand everything that goes wrapped around in it. So it's like, for instance, if you notice a lot of things about a lot of people's videos, one way or another, like if they talk about this type of topic or something like this, you know what hits. So it's like, you know what can transcend or what can move the ship. So of course, you know that stuff. So that's also another nice play to wrap around. But my thing is this, I always say this, when it comes to YouTube, there is a limit, right? There's a limit to this thing. Because my thing is, just because you know analytics, you don't know any other analytics that's similar to YouTube that works the same way. Like you can say, hey, just because you're on YouTube, that means you're only limited to what? You're limited to the Twitch type of analytics, you're limited to the other formalities of it. But that doesn't mean everyone else rides the same wave of those analytics. So my thing is, just because you got a good flat line with analytics doesn't mean you know every version of analytics out there amongst other people in their system. Everyone got different systems.
Hey,
So-
Wally, I'm also add to that too, but you know, and let me be clear. I'm not projecting, you know what I'm saying, to anybody specifically, but I am being, you know, transparent, you know, in a way that where I don't know if nobody else has, you know, paid attention to it, but the landscape of media is drastically going to change. You know, and I was telling my man the other day, I was like, you know, eventually ESPN will no longer exist. Like cable TV, like if this keeps going the way that it has been going, like cable TV will no longer exist. And I would probably say in the next probably about 7 or 8, 9 years. You know what I'm saying? Even when you look at how like the automotive industry is now, you know what I'm saying, changing, we're now living in a new industrial age to where, you know, it's a lot different when the first Model T Ford had came out. You know what I'm saying? When that was a huge boom and everybody wanted, you know what I'm saying, an automobile, right? Now, when you look at how even the engines are being built, even Tesla now has a big, huge, you know, competition when you have GM, Ford, you know, other, you know what I'm saying, companies, you know, Rivian as well, that are really, you know what I'm saying, trying to outpace, you know what I'm saying, to, you know, to beat the big dogs. So, you know, I'm just, you know, offering some real intro, you know what I'm saying, yeah, you know what I'm saying, and just in how the landscape of things. I mean, hell, I mean, and that also applies to everything. I mean, hell, you can look at it from the healthcare industry to real estate to the fashion, you know what I'm saying, industry, like QB has said, even the makeup line, because now every female, she wants to have an eyelash and a makeup line. You know what I'm saying? And then you got, you know what I'm saying, dudes who, you know, everybody is trying to be, you know what I'm saying, a rapper. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And even when you look at it, like every league has like a max capacity hold. Everybody can't make it to, you know, from the NBA. Everybody can't be, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I'm just saying that because there's so many other lanes that nobody's like really paying attention to and tapping in. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not trying to really, you know, and I'm not like really trying to, you know, discourage nobody, but just to really add some, you know, valuable added insight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know, that's all.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, because even to what you said about the rapper, right? Here's another add on to that one, because a lot of rappers underground, they could be dope, but my thing is because they don't got that spark or that flash of, you know, attractability, they're not in the TV scenes, which more likely is, you know, is gatekeeping, all that other stuff, right? Or, you know, whatever it is. And that slows that visual stance of them even being known to anything. So of course it shortens their cap, while the other big stars that are in the big scenes and in the contracts and in these labels are actually seen overall. But that's the that's the battle and the position you choose to take. So, I mean, you have to work around that.
Okay. Well, thank y'all. I want to give some other people opportunity. If y'all don't mind, we can come back around. This is a great introspective topic. Thank you, Razik. Queen, the Tylers, Alonzo. Who would like to jump in next? You're on mute. Okay.
Okay, so to add to what they were saying, it's absolutely true. Like, I feel like that if people would accept their lane and not try to invade other people's lanes and compete where there's no competition, like, there can only be one Michael Jordan. That's why he's Michael Jordan. Like, so that doesn't mean that you're not going to have a great show, just like I have a great show. That don't mean that I'm trying to take your spot in the ratings. I'm just trying to get a spot. So, yeah, I've taken the process of learning editing from day one. I've taken the process, like, I didn't want anybody to be able to say, well, you wouldn't have this if it wasn't for me. Like, and a lot of times when you're a creative, people, well, absolutely, they have whole lawsuits about stealing creative ideas nowadays. So, people needs to be really careful and just be intentional. Like you always say, like, be intentional with every show you make, be intentional with the background to it, the editing to it, and find your lane. You got anything to add?
Yeah, I feel the same way though. Like, everybody can't be a Michael Jordan. Everybody can't be the Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, find something you good in and be the Michael
Be
Jordan
great
at
at
that.
it, right?
Can y'all talk about something else that y'all do? How you take your love of food and cooking, and you are trying to explore that realm. So while you may still post videos, you are going out, and who knows, maybe one day you'll have a restaurant. Yes, that industry could be a little saturated, but there's only one you.
Right.
Yep. And that comes with, like, not being scared to try different ingredients, like thinking outside the box, basically. What would somebody won't do? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And do it.
And do it.
Right.
And be great at it.
There's a million hustles in this world. Choose more than one and do them.
Definitely, you gotta have more than one hustle these days.
Hey, look, y'all mind if I add one more thing? I'm sorry. I just want to say too. I think one key caveat is all of this is censorship, and I bring that up because if they ever open up censorship to where it's more adult like, I think you're going to see a different landscape happen. To where a lot of people who use a lot of vulgar language or colorful, language are more offensive, in their viewpoints and how they talk. I think you're going to, I think it's going to be a lot harder for a lot of people who are not inclined to using that type of language or having people who have those particular type of views, which is going to be harder for some other people to, maintain a spot. And case in point, when you look at Rudy Ray Moore, that was an example. When you look at Howard Stern, look at the market that of what he was able to do based upon how he was and how he spoke, and the type of topics that he was really able to cover. And even then how, a lot of, stations were trying to, censor him. I think, that censorship, the way that it's happening now, even with like Twitter, because a lot of people have been banned off of Twitter, based upon how they speak. So I think, looking at, censorship as a whole, if that lane ever opens up, to allow a lot more people who have a lot more extremist views, I think it's going to be a lot harder, to solidify a spot, because at the end of the day, it all boils down to the money. If nobody was, if this wasn't a financial lucrative, type of market, many people would not be involved in this, because it would just literally be a waste of time. Because at the end of the day, the money is the deciding factor. We all have bills, we all have a lifestyle that we desire to attain. So, you're not just doing this for, the sake of doing it. Ultimately, you
That's
want
the
to get
fact.
paid.
If I can know, or for kind of a little bit of the initial question about the saturation, right? I speak to that in self-employed sections all the time. Why? Because there is going to be, that competition. Yes, there is only one Michael Jordan. There is only one Mike Tyson. There is only one, Muhammad Ali. But after Muhammad Ali, there was Mike Tyson. After Michael Jordan, there was Kobe Bryant. After Kobe Bryant, there is LeBron James, and there will be someone after LeBron James, right? And when you look down the bread aisle, there's a bunch of different breads, right? It's an entire aisle of bread. But in that entire aisle of bread, there's something for everyone. Otherwise, that particular bread wouldn't be there, right? Now, some last longer than others, and some do better numbers than others. But it's just like making it to the NBA. The thing is to push yourself in whatever endeavor it is that you're in far enough to make it to that bread aisle. Because for the 1,000 different varieties of bread that you do see in the bread aisle, for every one of those 1,000 that did make it, there are 1,000 that didn't make it. So that's, a million that didn't make it. But don't worry about those that didn't make it, because there's still 1,000 breads in the bread aisle. So make it to be one of those. You might not be Wonder Bread, or you might not be the household name like Kleenex, right? Because when people ask for a tissue, they don't say, "Do you want a tissue? Do you want a facial wipe?" They say, "You want Kleenex?" Right? And it'd be Walmart Great Value brand, but you're still gonna call it Kleenex. Not everything gets done like that. So you can kind of make yourself a brand. And when it comes to things like YouTube or social media, this is a strange arena, right? For example, you were speaking to maybe the vernacular or the choice of words or sentence enhancements that one may choose to use in their content. And then if it goes even further to censorship or the lack thereof, do you get situations like Howard Stern, etc.? The question and the danger behind that, however, is with so much censorship, and I tend to look at things on a global scale, and here in America, for all intents and purposes, you might as well call us North Koreans. And why do I say that? Because we know nothing of the outside world. When I say that, I mean we know nothing of what's going on outside of America in the main scheme of things. Pray for Ukraine, but we don't really know what's going on. Right? If you were mentioning things like financial markets, people want to do trading and stuff and then don't know what the NK is, and that's not Nike. You know what I mean? So maybe someone who can speak the language of everyone, or can convey their message to anyone, can help, one make out in terms of that proverbial bread, if you will, if that makes sense. I'll stop there.
All right. Thank you for the insight.
You took
Vaughn?
No, I would just say he said we don't know what goes in other countries. What does he mean? What do you mean by that, Alonzo? We don't know. As far as what?
For the most part, Americans are very ignorant on geopolitical things.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, like I feel like what he's saying, like, is like people people only know what our media shows us. Like they don't go outside of American media to see what's actually reported by other people. So we haven't visited there, lived there, if we don't have an insight into what goes on from here, we only know what the media tells us, and we know that censorship only allows what they allow. So like he said about like the Ukraine, we only know what they're presenting to us as if it's a bad thing. But if you listen to videos of people from there, they're like, we're not necessarily mad that the power is changing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's presentation, screen presence, and knowing, like he said, knowing geopolitical moves can help you motivate your way. I guess maybe I don't know. I'm getting confused myself. So
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see your point, but I also think I see your point, Tyler, the Tylers, which is a great point. I just think that it also depends on where you're getting your information from. Sky News, you got Sky News that does a lot of reporting over there. Al Jazeera does a lot of reporting over there, which they go into more details. You got the Real News Network. They go into details. Then you got geopolitical politics, like Alonzo said, that reports. So it also depends on where you get your news and how far you go in your research also. Then you got
right, and that's what I was saying. Most Americans don't go outside of their Yahoo
Right.
News or their Google News.
I got
So that's what I'm saying. You're responsible to go outside of those top search and those top reporters and those top channels, and go look at the people that actually go there and report there. Look at the people who,
I got you. It's like some people just watch Fox News. They don't go out of Fox News. They don't
right. That's what I'm saying.
Even the first thing they read or the first thing they see.
Right.
I got you.
And look, and also another part to that is like the clickbait, because the clickbait is actually is what's killing the media. You know what I'm saying? When you really look at it, because so many people will just click on something because it has a enticing either photo or a headline, and nobody's really doing the research to actually read the full article in detail to really understand the whole, photo or the landscape of what is actually happening. I see so many people, and just from a wide range of races, male, men and your women, and they'll say, okay, well, I seen this, or they might send me something, and I'll be like, well, did you actually read it? And then no, the first thing they said was, nah, I didn't. I just saw the headline. I think it's interesting. I'm like, well, how do you know it's interesting? You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm just saying that to a point, because when you really look at, society in the past, 2 or 3 decades, and how it's actually transpired from how we receive, information, and how we utilize that for, our viewpoint on society, and to, evolve that into a talking point, is really not conducive in becoming a smarter, and becoming a smarter, human being, because, our attention span is actually drawing down. So, people are not reading as much. They're reading less, and they're focusing more on the podcast, or because a person has a certain, popular, hilarity. And I'm gonna say this too. Right? And I'm gonna use Anton Daniels as a caveat to tie into my point, because I've actually chilled with him, and I met his wife, and I was there in Detroit, and we had an awesome time. The one difference that I realized with Anton is this. Anton really did put in the work. Like, he really did read. He really did educate himself to get, to a point to where, he talks and lives everything that he says. Like, there's no cap in that man's rap, at all. And it was just very insightful, to actually see, because so many younger folks, particularly younger than me, mid-20s, whatever, they're so quick to hop on the wave. You know what I'm saying? As as they say,
Just to take
because
them
they see
steps.
because they see everybody else doing it. Oh, they look at Drink
Mhm.
Champs, they look at Joe Budden, they look at Wally and Gillo. Wallow and Gillian. You know what I'm saying? And and Revolt and Young Miami and what I'm saying. All these people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who substantially have enough capital to really build a platform in less than 24 hours versus most of us who got like 75K, 100K, you know what I'm saying, jobs, but you can only allocate a few hundred a week or a few thousand a month, you know what I'm saying, whatever.
Mhm.
And so when you really look at the metrics of the numbers, you really have to ask yourself, how can you compete? Because in any
Right.
market,
Right.
there's always competition. Even when you look
Mhm.
at OnlyFans and the girls who were doing that, the competition is stiff. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It is very stiff. You know what I'm saying? There's only
Mhm.
a small minuscule of girls who meet the aesthetic look, who are able to attract a certain crowd, able to substantiate that type of money, you know what I'm saying? And, over time, and even then, that's only like a certain time period because then, of course, we all know like you're not going to stay young and healthy and beautiful forever. You know what I'm saying? Your body is going to,
Right.
what I'm saying, wither, wear and tear over the years. And then while you're trying to maintain a level of presence, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what's gotten you that type of money. Here comes somebody else, you know what I'm saying, coming in, bum rushing you out of the way. You know what I'm saying? And now you fighting hard trying to compete, and they're just doing it efforts of, a much more less effort because they're younger, hotter, faster. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that in any market, you're going to have to, what I'm saying, compete. But ultimately,
Mhm.
going back to my original point, and which is why I was talking about like the financial market, because it's an untapped market. Because it's, obviously it takes a lot of time to research, read, to understand, what you need to do. Most people don't even have, the money, or the money that they do have, they want to hold on to it so tight that they, what I mean, because they're scared of the market and they don't understand. And then, and because they're so behind the eight ball, now they're like, okay, well, I heard this. I know what an ETF is, and I'm not sure about VOO and this and that and the third. Where do I put my money at? How long do I have to wait? What is the rate of return? And you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot that goes into that as well. But
If I
which
can
is why
speak
I
to that,
go ahead. I'm sorry, bro.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
as a financial professional myself, so the concerns that you are addressing right now are, it's funny because like we'll have a lot of people who are consultants or do credit repair, this, that, and the third. And one of the, especially in the African American community, you'll hear often is, they'll kind of down talk those that don't want to be entrepreneurs, which if you're self-employed and selling a product, you're not an entrepreneur, you're just self-employed. We'll talk about that later. But we'll put barriers in the way. One of the memes that I saw was someone said, it's strange because with my $500 client, it's like, oh, I need you to hold my hand and da 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 da. And with the $50,000 client, it's like checks in the mail. And while that may be true, there's reasons behind that. And one of the main reasons behind that, and actually I learned this from at the CAAFP at 2021, which is the Conference of African American Financial Professionals, hosted by the American College of Financial Services. Check it out, www.theamericancollege.edu. But at any rate, with so we don't teach our own community this stuff, right? And I went live earlier today with a mentor of mine who's an MDRT qualifier, um, $1 million round table, the top 1% of financial professionals across 70 countries. So, one of the things that he said, and it was actually in a Yahoo Finance article, Black financial professionals often have a harder time, even when we are MDRT caliber, because our own community doesn't quite understand how money works. So I say all that to say that $500 client needs you to hold their hand, because it took a whole lot more for that person to accumulate and have expendable that $500 than it did for that person to, come up with that 50 grand. Now, all things subjective, yes, it takes a lot of work to get a $50,000. But the client who comes to you and needs you to hold their hand with $500 had to bleed to get that $500, right? Now, again, I'm not diminishing the blood, sweat, and tears of the person who just writes the check for 50 grand. But that's another thing too, right? There are barriers to entry in a lot of this. For example, you were saying things like VOO, QQQ. I see a lot of places where people will say, hey, I invest in Vanguard ABC and this, that, and the third. And, it's great. And one of the things that's disappointing, what I tend to hear is, hey, listen, I'm a financial advisor. Why don't you come sit with me? And they'll say, okay, well, I'll come sit with you when my money's right. And, I say, well, you wouldn't say to a physical trainer, I'll wait till I'm a chiseled Adonis to come see you. You say, no, let me come see you, and then I'll hop in the gym with you, and then there we go. But with finances, we kind of think it backwards. And one of the things that also ends up not happening is, again, us as the financial professional, we don't teach you guys, right? I like to educate my clients so much so that you really don't need me except for on the point of sale. So again, those barriers to entry are literally financial, and it makes it harder for the average earning person makes $75,000, $120,000 a year. You're really still not in a position to invest at that point, right? At this point, to be honest, to be an accredited investor, a single person needs to have an annual income of about $200,000 to $250,000 a year for the past 3 years, expected to do so the following year. Otherwise, you really have no business saying investing in your lexicon. And the average investment, to be honest, if you go to, for example, Fidelity, so on and so forth, the minimum is generally going to be $10,000. Which equates to an $834 a month payment. It's actually $833 point something, but $834 a month, 834 times 12 is 10,000. So that's the minimum barrier of entry for investment. But when you go to places like JP Morgan Chase Bank, if you go to Chase Bank in your local area now and you speak to private client, those are investment managers. Generally, you're going to come into any investment manager with $500,000 or more and net worths of above $5 million. Now, here's where I have a love-hate relationship with things like Robinhood, Stash. You see me showing off my wedding ring. Husbands unite in the building. We bully men into being husbands. But in terms of, building your portfolio or being able to get to the desired outcome, or even participate and play in the game, right, and make yourself even able to compete, you have to kind of get through those barriers of entry. So those things like those small ETFs, like I just diminished, those are very valuable for you to get into and to be able to learn how to even read those charts. One thing that I dislike very much is crypto. However, it gives it removes that barrier of entry.
Okay, so I want to ask you this a lot.
The book where everyone starts at rookie.
All right, since we have all these financial people that love to talk about money and all things in between, how about we do another show, starting with the Finances for Dummies? Because I'm one of those people, while I know a little, I know probably not enough to really sit down and have an in-depth conversation. I'm one of those people, I guess I can read, I can analyze, I can, take information and break it down. However, there are still some aspects, many aspects of the financial world that, will still evade me. So would y'all be up for discussion on finances for dummies? Because again, there's a big portion of the Black community, especially, that simply don't even know, like all those terms you threw out there. Only because I was in a trading group last year, I know a few things. However, there's still so much more to uncover. And I'm still learning about the little nuances of how to build credit without doing the old-fashioned way, which is just paying off debts. There's still other ways to build your credit, and get to a place that you need to be. So anywho, so I'm offering you a spot on one show one day. Would you all be willing to have the conversation?
Yeah, I'm down for it. That's what my content's about, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're all open to that.
Hey, look, I've always been a huge advocate of money. Ever since I've read this book. Q, and Q, you already know, I have mentioned this book a lot. This is a very valuable book. If you have not read this book, go buy it. It's less than $30. Incredible. You have no idea what you are missing out if you have not read that book. I promise you. Promise you.
What they always say, right? The best kept secrets are in the books.
Are in the books. I've always been a huge advocate of it. Somebody had told me to read. I was like, who the hell is Tony Robbins? Until I actually read it, and I read probably like 15 to 20 pages a day. That's it. It's a 634 page read. You know what I'm saying? And I read it in probably about less than a month and a half. And I will never look at the money the same way that I once did before I had read that book. I can't. I know too much now. So even going back to what, QB was saying, and even Alonzo, we've had plenty of combos. And it is a huge untapped market. I mean, incredibly huge. And even what QB had said earlier in the live stream, when she was like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you said something about, you were in the market and at a different space in your life, and you just kind of like left it alone. But and even going back to what I was saying earlier, like over 80% of the entire continent of Africa doesn't even have the ability to even own a phone because they don't have no towers over there, because they don't have no internet. You know what I'm saying? So think about and when you look at the national debt, which is at about what 30 trillion, trillion. And when you look at what the GDP was in probably about 20 to 25 years ago, we're talking almost a 400% increase. A 400%.
We have no export anymore. That's the problem. So, as a nation, we're nothing but consumers. Everything we do is import. No longer, however, is it just import from China. For example, a few years, maybe not everybody's favorite person, but Donald Trump had a clothing line. A lot of those clothes were made in Pakistan.
Facts.
And so
facts. Facts. But look, and not to cut you off, but to tie it all down to it, right, is that the reason why I brought up the GDP, because $1 was way more valuable in 1950 than it is now.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So think about what that $1 is going to be worth in the next 50 years.
Actually, there was already a study on that. In 2020, if you put $100,000 away, even in an interest-bearing account, and this was prior to Biden coming in with the inflation doing the hyperinflation. But $100,000 from 2020 to 2030, that 100,000 in 2030 would be equal to having $50,000 in spending power. And one more brief touch on the GDP. For example, that's kind of why Trump did things like place those tariffs, etc. Because he was a beneficiary of a lot of the tax looting, because he was a multi-billionaire of so many of the luxury brands that we relish. He understood what the other billionaires were benefiting from and wanted to bring some of those things back. No, I'm not a supporter. I'm a registered independent. But I vote for whoever's going to do the best thing for me in my pockets. You know, go ahead, my fault.
It all boils down to the money. No matter how you cut it,
Right.
it all boils down to the money.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just to add my spill up real quick. Because for me, because like looking back at everything you saying, Razi, right? Because that's what I do on my channel, right? Because a lot of things for me is because I'll sit here and say this. I probably have a whole bunch of time to read books, but the thing is, a lot of people like going back to what you were saying originally, right? Because people being lazy amongst doing this whole YouTube and everything else, right? And they get too caught up in nothing when really you should be worried about something else. Lucky enough for me, I didn't make myself into those type of channels. I actually made my channel based on those premises of those important informations. So constantly, even when I'm doing this, I'm always gonna have to be like, okay, I'm always gotta have to resource or read up on another article about this every single day of every single time, so I can actually make content on it, or maybe I can just stay up on every other time. So technically, I'm always pushing myself to do this, even though I might not be an expert.
Hey, Miss Polly,
Hi,
what's going on?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You know what I mean? Trying to get through this video. It's a little emotional, but gotta
Okay.
do it. And
You're doing a good job. You're doing great.
thank you, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for coming up. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody for showing support and showing love. And I know that QB meant a lot to a lot of people. She meant a lot to me. And yeah, just wanted to kind of show that appreciation back. And yeah, you know what I mean? Doing YouTube is a process, man, and this is one of them. And I've just been doing my best to just stay focused and not allow certain things to bother me, or even allow anything to creep in to keep me off centered, off focus. So,
Right.
but what's going on with you though? What's good with you though? You know what I mean?
Oh,
How you been?
I'm well. I'm well. Like I said, just try to pop in and say what's up. I saw you were live. I was watching a little bit earlier, probably like 40 minutes ago. I saw you were still on there. So, I just wanted to, I know you're still on here. So I just wanted to say hey and tell you that, like, just keep being positive and, keep moving forward, basically, because at the end of the day, you can only go as far as you really push yourself. So.
Definitely. Now listen, audience, me and Miss Polly, we all trying to get our schedules aligned. You know what I'm saying? And it's I know I always joke with her, but it's also my fault too. I am vastly busy, so there's times where 2 or 3 days will go by and I'm like, oh dang, I didn't call her. And 2 or 3 days will go by and I'm like, oh damn, I didn't do it again. You know what I'm saying? So I know that I have dropped the ball in communication. Not because I wanted to, you know what I mean, but because it's just been there's been a lot going on, you know what I'm saying, outside of just trying to get things going. There's other people, networks that I'm trying to help, you know what I mean. It's always trying to keep my network afloat. And it's just other people, there's things outside of YouTube too, right? We got to go outside sometime, right? So I know a lot of people just think that we're just probably sitting in somebody's basement and we just hit live and we're always sitting here, but no, that's not true. We actually work, and we actually have family time, and we got relationships. We got a lot of different things going on that that are outside of just the whole YouTube thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Miss Polly, what's going on as far as just like you and just like you starting a new year. Are
Yeah.
you trying to do relationships differently this year, or is your mindset like, okay, I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm not trying to do anything different? Like, are you into the whole New Year's resolution thing, or it's like I'm
I
good just
am.
doing what I'm doing?
No, I think the
You are
resolution is always good.
okay.
I think resolutions are good for the year. For me, writing a list and having something to reflect on, it shows me how much I moved and how much progress I have. Um, so actually, I probably say I try to do one every 3 months, and then overall one. This year, I definitely wanted to really work on my health. I've been struggling with food. I love food. I'm not lying to you. It's a sickness. And so like, it's not even about the food. It's just about, just trying to make sure I'm eating proportions right. I want to be at my best shape by 40. So at this point, and that's obviously in a few years, but I want to start the process of really getting myself into, being very consistent, because I struggle with consistency in general. I have ADHD. It's one of the things I've always battled with, and trying to be consistent on my own, because I do have, obviously people who hold me accountable, but I also want to hold myself accountable a little bit better. So those kind of things. Trying to, like I said, I have Mind Over Tea, is a new channel that I'm doing with a gentleman, and he has some great ideas about pushing basically some content. I wouldn't. He's kind of red pillish, I guess, but it's more about combining logic with like gossip and things that are going on. So we're going to talk about like, celebrity news and all that, and then we're going to kind of try to apply real logic and thought to those things. And that's where we're kind of trying to head with that. So, trying to get people to realize that that's not reality. That's a fantasy. And that with the reality we live in is different. So that we have to approach that differently. Just because you see Kim Kardashian running around, leaving her husband, and not saying she shouldn't, with all her children, and seeing that how no one else wants to be a father to her children, that's a problem. And that even happens in your celebrity. So imagine, even with the money, it doesn't matter. So at this point, it's like, is there, we get to have that conversation. Like, are we like trying to follow celebrities who are basically just like us? There's things like that, those kind of conversations. So bringing reality, bringing logic into these celebrities and gossip and things like that. So we're going to have those conversations, and invite yourself and a few other people to come on panel and talk with us about it too. So like saying, sharing the love, and I'm gonna be trying to do that this year. I also gave in my notice for work so that I can really focus on content and things like that. So I might be tight with scheduling for a little bit longer, but probably like by spring I'll have a lot more open time. So yeah.
Okay. And wow, you actually really dedicated, because you said you gave me your notice for work, and I know you was putting in a lot of work, the last few months, at your career and at your the endeavor you was doing, and it seemed like you were very dedicated to that as well. Was that a hard process for you to do? Because it seemed like you were in a prominent role, and that things were going a certain way. So for you to just be like, all right, I'm gonna step away and I'm gonna focus on my content, was that hard for you to do in that moment?
And to go back to what you were playing earlier today, what I was listening to also, when I heard Queen and everybody saying like, on the verge of this breakthrough, like, I'm not 20. Okay. So saying, hey, I'm doing really good at this, but it's not really exactly what I thought it would be. I don't have the hours and all this stuff. I can turn around and say, hey, in 5 years, I could be in a totally different place. If I just jump in and really push my content, push who I am, and really put in 100%, so I can make things happen for me. So when I saw the video that you're playing, everything else, that just a reminder that right there could just, that what I watched earlier, kind of said, see, this is you push for it. You don't know, tomorrow is not promised. Why am I waiting to be who I need to be right now? There's no reason. So,
Okay.
you know, I want to give it my all. I have the energy. I want to focus on that. Yeah, like I said, I did like the job, but like it does take a lot. It took a lot of our time from home and stuff like that. And this content and stuff like this is really important to me to advocate and all that. And I need to go ahead and try to do what I know I love to do, and which is help others, counsel others, and share with them about what relationships could be. And that's where I belong.
Wow, I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad that that's a big thing. I love the fact that you said that you also want to talk about celebrities and things of the nature, but from more of an introspective, like where it's like you're not bashing them, you're just kind of giving your critique of just their point of view and just kind of how you feel about what they shared, right, or just what they're doing that they actually are putting out there. So it's not like you're speculating anything, right? I think a lot of times people get on social media and they speculate, right? They speculate like, oh, so and so got this going on, right? But it's like there's no factual information based on that. So then, then it's like then it becomes clout chasing because you don't really know if this person is doing this behavior or not, right? You know what I mean? And then that's when it becomes kind of like toxic. But I love the fact that you're just doing it from perspective where you're giving perspective on just like what they have said or what they have gone through, and not trying to muddy it up. Somewhat similar to what M3 and Sophisticated Jerk is doing on Saturdays. Salute to them brothers on Knowledge of Relationships. You know what I mean? And I try to join in there where I can. But yeah, they're doing that on Saturday. So I think it's very similar to that. I think also I was watching a video from a content creator, this woman, and she was just advocating for women to like just get money from men and kind of use men for money and how to you need to settle for a man that don't look that good and all this other rhetoric. And I'm like, huh? Like you're not telling this woman, right, to work on herself. You're not like how you said, like you want to be healthy, right? That you want to work on yourself, that you want to work on different things, right? And that you want to motivate other people to do that, right? I feel like so many times I look on this thing and I see other women not telling other women to do that, right? I see men doing that too. You know what I mean? I see men not telling other men they need to work on stuff. But to be honest, I feel like it's less men doing that though. I feel like most men will tell me, hey man, look, you gotta go to the gym. Hey man, this ain't this ain't you. If you want to talk to a female, that's what you gotta say. Whether they're right or wrong, right? They're still gonna get their perspective. But with a woman, she could be, she could be my 500-pound life, or she could be like not all that, and they will tell her that no, it's okay that you're just doing what you're doing. It's like no, like you got to work on you too. Like it's not okay for you just to be where you're at. So I totally support you trying to inspire and encourage people to just be at their best and not just be the regular old mill of who they are. So yeah, I appreciate that.
It's mind over tea. So yeah, I was like, I'm feeling good about it. And my co-host is definitely has an interesting view on it, and not the same as mine. So so that also will be good, because you'll hear someone else's point of view as not a woman, and then on top of that, has a different point of view than I do. So there also will be, obviously we don't want to be in an argument, but obviously just having a conversation. So that's it.
Definitely. I do got one question for you, Ms. Polly. Then after that, I'm gonna let you break out because I know your time is probably limited. But my question is, how do you get women to do that? How do you get them to be inspired? To get fit, to do these things that you're doing. Like, what methods do you do to kind of hold other women accountable and kind of just have them being at their best? You know what I'm saying? Or pursuing their best.
I think when women aren't getting what they desire, and that's when it's like they have to hit rock bottom. I know that sounds unfortunate, but a lot of them have to reach rock bottom. I think right now it's hard for people to hit hit rock bottom. Because, like you said, you'll have, and I'm not gonna say, you'll have men who just want to have sex or things like that, and they're sneaky. There's men who know how to talk very well, and they will tell a woman, "Oh yeah, you're pretty," all that. Like you hear that, but that is a true concept. That some men will say whatever to get what they want from you, and then dip, and then now you're hurt even more. But when you hit to the point where you're like, "Hey, like, what I'm doing is not working," you have to get to that place, because this, especially this generation, they're too strong-minded. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying you should be weak-minded, but I'm trying to say you think that you are the one who has the answer and that everyone else needs to conform to you. And if you feel that way, then no one can ever get through. So you have to wait for them to fall to the point where they are saying, I don't know what to do. And you may have to be someone who's close to them to do that. Or like you said, if I put it out there and someone's looking online, they can find it. Because they'll look. They might not tell their friend, but they'll look for, well, what's wrong? Why can't I find a man? They'll put that into Google. Why am I struggling? Why? I'm serious. You do that? So if I had, like you said, we're going to build Rome and they will come. I'm going to build it. You'll come. Because at the end of the day, I know regardless of my lifestyle, regardless of that thing, at the end of the day, I have proven that I can hold more than one relationship. And not only that, it's for a long time and it's positive. So what am I doing as a person who's quote unquote past their prime? What am I doing that these ladies are not? And I'm not saying I'm the only one. There's other ladies out here just like me. Just like me. I'm going to get them to come and tell their story. Let them give you information. Because why is it that we're okay? And you can see I'm not doing it all like I'm from 1970. I'm not. I'm not saying 1970s old. I'm saying I'm not sitting here like my grandmother or my mom and saying, oh, you got to be this perfect specimen. I'm saying I am flawed, but I want to do better. What can I do to improve myself so I can be a better partner and that people are attracted to me? And that's what you need to do.
I think I would say something that I've always been encouraged, from you and just admired about you is that you always seek to have conversation. You know what I'm saying? You always seek to basically talk about different things and to basically give an outlook of how people really feel in relationships, right? And even though it may people may feel uncomfortable and they may be like, well, no, that's not traditional. You're not supposed to do that. Why do you like more than one person? How can you love these other people? It's like, no, but like you gotta listen to her perspective. If you listen to her perspective, she's telling you in depth of, why these things, why she feels the way she feels, and why the things that we gravitate towards are just things that, we are just told that's wrong, right? We're not questioning these things. We're not really trying to actually ask, well, why is it wrong for me just to have one person? Or why is it wrong for me just not to have more than one person? Like, we're not asking anything. We just kind of just do it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like somebody tell you to vote. You're like, all right, cool, I'm gonna vote. But why? Why are you voting for? And who are you gonna vote for? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what political interest is gonna help you grow in your community? It's gonna help your house, gonna help your family and feed your kids and everything else. So you're just gonna go out there and vote for somebody and you don't know what they're gonna do for you? Like, and I think it's the same thing in relationships. We just get in these relationships, right? Because the church or our mama or, I guess a deity or whatever that we believe in tells us that this is okay. But we really don't understand relationships, nor do we understand ourselves. And then we get in these relationships and we're expecting this person to meet every single thing in our mind and in our heart. You know what I mean? And that's just, that is just not even, like, it's not even, reasonable, or is it reality at all?
Yeah. And being monogamous, I don't have anything against monogamy yet. And I know people think that, when people see me, they ask me about my relationship. But the relationship between two people, even though I have, different partners, I have a special relationship with each person. And that relationship is something that I value highly, and that's where I think that some people get it lost. They're like, oh, you just have, no. This is something I care about, I put energy in. This is something I am pouring my soul into. And so when you find the people who fit right into that, it's wonderful. Even if it is one person, pour into them, let them pour into you, you be the best you. And I think that's what's missing. And then when these women that go out here and they're looking for something, allow them, even though looking for that support and all those things they're looking for, a lot of them aren't even thinking about what they can give a person, what they can receive, what you can give, and what you actually need. Because there's some things you want, but you don't need them. And so there's a lot of things like we've had a discussion before. And so there's a process to this. And like I said, attracting people. I think people are always thinking like, no, attract them. And this is one thing I'll say, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm the bad desire, because I am not, far. That's not what I mean. But I'm trying to tell you this. How is it in a world of mostly monogamous people, especially in the Black community, how is it that I attract, I didn't even know it was possible. I attract so many monogamous men who are willing to try to see what it is to feel really loved. And I mean, not to say no, they don't feel loved, they get stuff. No, to actually know what it's like for someone to pour into them and care for them. It's because somewhere when they go outside, they don't feel like they're gonna get that. So you actually make it possible for people like me to be in a lane that I don't belong in. I'm just being honest.
Wow.
Why am I attracting large amounts of monogamous men?
Wow.
Large amount. Like, as I'll say, 90% of the people who contact me are monogamous, and or they are poly, but they're the other poly.
Wow.
They're the ones where it's two ladies and a man. I will still attract those men.
Wow.
So this is something you got to think about. Are you attracting what you really want? Are you putting out there what you want to receive? This is a process. I may have thought about this, but I even had to work on myself. I was married before. I went through a divorce. Did I think I was perfect? No. At one time I thought, I'm always gotten this. No, but I also know that I have to fix things and ask my partners. I have to trust that their vision for us is positive. It's all kinds of stuff that is really based on a good relationship. It's not based on probably me loving all these people. It's really based on a good relationships. And that's it.
So let me ask this question. So wow, because that's a bombshell you just dropped. So do you think that when it comes to women who are monogamous, right? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that they just have a hard time just showing love to the men that they're with? Do you think that they have this concept that the man is supposed to go out there and work all the time, and then they come home and all they gotta do is cook and maybe give them intimacy? Like, where's the disconnect? Because if they want monogamy, right? If they're really seeking that, then wouldn't they honor and treasure that man just as much as he honors and treasures them, if not more? You know what I'm saying? But I also will hold the men accountable too, and I'm holding men accountable for the men who basically, who are basically, sleeping with women and creating a bunch of babies and things of that nature, and they're not willing to basically really be with these women. You know what I mean? So they go from woman to woman, right, or house to house. They don't care who they get pregnant. They don't care what diseases they give them. They're just slinging it, right? No protection or nothing. You know what I mean? And then they're mad at the outcome of whether it's kids or diseases or whatever else that comes with them. But you're not protecting yourself, right? You're not protecting that person that you're with. Women will much rather respect a man if he's out there and he may have somebody on the side, or he may have somebody that he's talking to, but he's using protection. He's not creating babies. He's not creating diseases. You know what I mean? He just likes to have his fun, but he's being responsible and having his fun. Women will much more respect that. Women don't respect a lot of you guys because you guys will go out there, you impregnate the whole town, and you won't want to take care of none of the kids. You know what I mean? You have 4 or 5 plus kids, and you don't want to take care of not one. Nor would you want to claim them. So I think, and you'll be spreading diseases. So I think this is where, you know what I'm saying, the women get upset. And I don't blame them for getting upset. Because when you bring a child into this world, that means that you're putting another life out there that can't take care of itself, that needs you, know what I mean? And that needs the mother as well. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where the danger, comes in. Salute to my man Dark Lake Revive. You know what I mean? That's where the danger comes in. You know what I mean? I think just men, right? This is why I'm holding the men accountable. You men just got to be more. We got to be more cognitive of how we move out here, man. You know what I mean? I was always taught to protect yourself at all times. You know what I mean? And don't get involved in a situation if you know that you ain't really trying to be with this person. You know what I mean? Like in a long-term relationship, like put people on a level they belong on. So if I'm with a chick and I don't really want to be with her like that, and she on a certain level, I'm gonna treat her as that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna treat her like trash, but I'm gonna let her know, look, you're not my girl. You know what I mean? Or you're not my wife, or you're not this, you're not that. I'm not gonna put her on a pedestal she don't belong on. And I think that's why a lot of women lose respect, because you guys will tell her that she's this and that and that and the third, and that's what she's not, right? And then on top of it, y'all also would get her pregnant too, which is insane. But that's another situation.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I
Dark
do
Lake.
think guys.
Miss Polly,
Hi.
go ahead and say your piece. I'm sorry, and
Oh,
I'm gonna have Dark Lake
no.
share.
Okay, yeah, I do think men take accountability, and I used to try. In my mind when I started this, the consultating and all that for all things. I actually had it was men I was talking to, and it came to me like, I can tell men, hey, you know what, this is why she probably doesn't like that, blah blah blah. I give you advice all day, but at the end of the day, it's still you have to learn some things from a man, and so I can only help to some degree to give you insight. But that's even me. I had to switch kind of my role, and that's what I'm trying to do this year, is be more talkative to the women, because at the end of the day, men like to socialize with men, and there are men showing men how to be men, and women should kind of go over here. And I'm not saying I have to do that all the time, because men would call and ask me about poly stuff and ask about those things, or how do you do that? Let them know, hey, you know what, you're treating women wrong. And then when you go outside, you wonder man, there's so many bad women out here. But you have to realize you're not the only man in the world who's treating women bad. So now that everybody was fishing and they got all these fish and took them and touched them all up and threw them back in the pond, y'all want to know why the pond's bad. The pond's bad because everybody was doing the same thing. And now when you want to find a good fish to take home to cook, you're having a problem finding one because they're been tainted. So I think that is like a thing that I had to focus on too, kind of like figuring out like where I'd be the most helpful, and finding what lane that I should kind of approach now.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Dark Lake, what's going on, bro? Holla at me.
How y'all doing? Hey,
Fine.
hey, what's going on? So I think it's an important conversation to have. But when it comes to this subject matter, I gotta, I'm just appreciative that anybody lets me on their panel to add my 2 cents, because I'm kind of passionate about this subject matter, especially when it comes to the overall black male image. I think there's a overall problem with a narrative attached to this. Like you were talking about, you holding a man accountable, best in the world, because these men are getting these women pregnant, right? I don't agree with that. I don't think men are getting women pregnant. I think women are having men's babies. And that's a totally different thing, because you were talking about the man having 4 and 5 different baby mamas, right? Well, that guy doesn't account for most men or black men in society. Those are the men who a lot of the women are choosing to procreate with. So you got to think about it, guys. It's like if a man has 4 baby mamas, right? The 5th woman he comes into contact with, for whatever reason, right? She's more than likely willing to have his baby. It don't matter if he's taking care of his kids with the prior woman or not. They're going to have the baby with that guy. I don't know if they find it as attractive or as the competition is enticing to them. Like, oh, I'm going to be the woman who he takes care of the kid and settles down with. And F those other women that he's not really doing anything for. Maybe that's what it is. But the thought doesn't come, like, when you look at the bigger picture of things, if a dude has 4 baby mamas, right? That is 4 other men or black men in society who don't have a wife or don't have a girlfriend, because those 4 women have a baby by one guy. So instead of looking at it that way, for whatever happens, maybe they like the guy, the woman becomes the 5th baby mama. So then now that's 5 black men in society who don't have wives or don't have girlfriends because there's 5 women who are knocked up by that one guy. So I'm not critiquing whatever they like, but we can't put it all on men when it's illegal to have sex with a woman without her permission. And then if the woman gets pregnant, it's 100% up to her whether the baby comes into the world or not. It's not up for the man. The man has no rights in that regard because a woman's body, a woman's choice. So that's, and I'm not trying to say that, Mr. Best in the World, I'm not trying to say that your worries aren't validated. Yes, I think there should be accountability on men. There's dudes doing reckless shit out here. You're 100% right about that. But it's not the whole picture. It's not the whole story. Like if women are choosing to get with those types of men, and from the looks of it, this idea that that is a particular percentage or a smaller percentage of black men in society, that idea hasn't even resonated with most women. They don't know that when they get with a guy who already has several baby mamas, they don't know that that guy accounts for a smaller percentage of the black male demographic in America. They don't know that on the one block, and I'll just end it here, on the one block, that one guy in the house on that block has 5 baby mamas. They don't realize that there are 12 other black men in that same neighborhood on that same block who don't have several baby mamas. They're seeing it as that guy, because I met this guy and I'm attracted to this guy who has several baby mamas. The 12 other black men also have several baby mamas. They think that black men are all doing the same thing, and they don't understand that that's a demographic of men who they are attracted to. I'll end it there.
No, I know what you're saying. Like, why are you attracted? Why are women attracted to something that is clearly not going to work? See, and that's where I think women have to start being a little bit more logical. Yes, it could be go back and 2 fathers not being in the home, whatever you want to say. At the end of the day, instead of blaming things on what has happened, you can't change past. You can only change the future. Which is, you need to go ahead and start thinking more logically. I'm thinking logically. Well, if I date this man who got 3 other baby mamas, even though he's so sweet to me now and all that, at the end of the day, is this someone that is going to be a good person to marry or a good person to lay down with? You know, that doesn't seem like a smart move. And that's on both parties to make better decisions. And to be honest, the ones who do have kids, because you don't want to leave them out either, the ones who do have children and whatever, you know, hey, why don't y'all start hanging out with the ones who do have kids? Like, why aren't you trying to find, and yeah, then you'll have a blended family, might be bigger, but at the end of the day, I think of it like that. Like, you could be taking somebody's husband away because you just want to get some D. Because now he's got to spend 18 years making sure you're good, and you don't even want. That was selfish move.
Yeah, and also too, and the men are selfish too for just being reckless and getting people knocked up when they know that they don't have any plans to take care of that woman or the kid. They're literally taking away the potential wife or some black man who would want to do that. And I want to make something clear, right? I don't really believe in absolutes like that. I don't think just because a woman gets with a black guy or any man at all who has like prior situations happening that didn't work out, I don't think it's a definite that won't work. I'm not trying to say that all men under that category are bad men, right? It's anything's possible. A dude could have 2 baby mamas, right? And they just didn't work out. And he meets the next woman and he becomes Superman and he's great and fall in love and he takes care of his responsibilities, right? I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm not trying to critique what women like. I'm just saying that what I think is kind of unfair is if we look at the stories behind these disgruntled women who project their grievances online about black men. If the stories are like common or if they're repetitive, right? it's not fair to then disparage the whole male image, right? And say N words ain't this, N words ain't that. This is what's wrong with black men, or like Princella Clark, black men are incapable of love, and da 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 da. When we see that, hey, you guys are picking a certain type of guy. And the fact that a lot of women don't even realize they're doing that is a problem. That's where I come in. That's where I kind of defend the black male image, because I kind of connect it with the stories that I've heard and the research that I've done about which men, not just black men, but men in general, which men are actually having the babies. And so that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to, black women shouldn't want this or that. It's just, if it's going to deal with my image, or my if I ever have kids, my son's image, my brother's image, other black men I respect's image, we're not going to take women or anybody talking down about what we do wrong if we aren't doing wrong, if it's just some of us that's doing wrong. I think the compartmentalization needs to happen. That's all I mean.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that was what I was trying to say. Because I wasn't talking about brothers like you, or brothers that are actually like myself, who actually are not running around impregnating nobody and giving people diseases. I ain't talking about that, right? I'm talking about the ones who basically, are just, who are, basically impregnating the women and all that, and they want nothing to do with the women. They want nothing to do with them at all. These are the brothers I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about the women who basically are choosing these guys. Who, salute to M3. I'm not talking about the women who are choosing these men who basically, right, who they know, like, all right, this dude done knocked down, about 5 different girls. He done got 3 of them pregnant. I know he do this girl, but I just want him for me, and I'm not. Maybe I won't get pregnant, but I gotta try him out. I'm not talking about those women. I'm not talking about those women either. I know those women. Basically deserve what they're putting themselves out there for, right? So that's not what I'm speaking to. To the homie M3 in a building, and through the dome, got a baby, got a you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm speaking to the women who don't know, right? She's been lied to, she's been used, she's been bamboozled, right? You know what I mean? And she's been thinking
that happens. That happens. You're right.
She's been thinking that this brother is really, really down for her, and he ain't. You know what I mean? He done lied and done all stuff. So he done lied to Miss Polly. Miss Polly thought that he was one way, and now he just turned to some other type of dude. She's like, yo, what the fuck? And everything has changed, and she done had no idea, right? She had no idea this was who he was, right? This is what I'm speaking to. You know what I mean? And I'm not speaking to the men, like I said, who actually are doing the right things, or trying to do the right things. You know what I'm saying? Like us up here, we're trying to do the right thing. We don't always do the right thing, but we're trying, right? So that's what I'm speaking to. So I think that's a distinction. You know what I mean? So for those who are trying to actually be on a good path, salute to y'all. But the ones, man, who are not, and they just doing some crazy stuff, that's what I'm speaking to. So yeah, go ahead, family.
Yeah, M3, yeah, you can go because you came in. How you doing?
I'm good, guys, man. How's everybody doing? Oh, you're breaking a little bit. But
I'm good, bro. What's good?
No, nothing much, man. I saw you guys that's up there live, and I was wondering how you was able to go through the replays, but then still highlight the current people in the chat. So until now, I'm like, okay, so that's how you do it. But
oh shit, dude, them bubbles just came from your mouth, and I thought I was like, what? That was a cool effect. Would it just happen to be standing and sitting in the right position, but the bubbles came from your mouth as you were making that thought? That was hilarious. Did you see that? Anybody else see that?
No, I peeped it a little bit though, but I don't know how they appear. It might be somewhere in the StreamYard.
That was perfect. That's all I can say. Go ahead.
Yeah, but no, man. I'm going to say this. One, I'm going to talk about QB, but before I get to QB, recently, like a couple hours ago, this guy like who owned like this Black and Filipino owned establishment, he passed away, and he was going through like a lot of health challenges, and he's like he looked like he's pretty much like close to like my age, so like to kind of hear like somebody that passed away, where it been like due to like being terminally ill or some other like tragedy. I'm just like, damn, like this is like the kind of like the start of 2024. But with QB, man.
Sorry
like,
to hear that, man. My condolences to him and his family. Much love.
Yeah, thank you.
Wait, you said Q Butter?
QB.
Oh, QB. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, QB was a person who was a member of like the Intellectual Soapbox and also Knowledge and Relationships, and she was like one of like the second leaders for Ladies Night live streams. QB, man, always gave her all. She always gave her talent and her heart, man, despite on like whatever condition that she was like suffering. A lot of people, they don't know, man, like what she was really like, going through, except for the ones that was really like close to her. And she passed away like the year before that, like on New Year's Eve. So passing this day, like it marks like the anniversary of her, like not being here present with us. And so like, man, like watching some of the old videos, man, like it's really rough, man, to like really to be able to sit back and just like look at her, man, and just know that she can no longer be here to like really like give her heart. But I know the most important thing is to continue to like live on like through her legacy and always like be intentional everything that you do. Even though like, man, I'm not really like heavily into like this YouTube stuff or whatever, but it's a love and a hate in some cases. But it depends on like like the community that you're in, the people that you surround yourself around, and just knowing that, okay, sometimes like your message is not gonna really come across like to like a lot of people, as opposed to like the stuff that you see like on a daily when people be all foolish and they be talking about a bunch of niggerish shit, and YouTube be promoting that in some cases. But I know the main purpose, man, is to like for all of us to keep grinding, keep doing what we're doing, and just never stop, like no matter how like we feel. And that's something that I really learned from like from working with QB, is that you just gotta keep on going. So that's all I wanted to come up and talk about. But it's hard, man, like as people of like especially of color trying to like, how should I say this, you want to create like a platform where you can have fun, but you don't have to be like like amongst the norm. You don't have to feel like, man, you gotta do like a bunch of silly shit like to try to like to gain like the algorithm from YouTube or follow like the trends a lot. It's just that whatever you want to talk about, you're just hoping that more people will just be like-minded and in tune to like what you believe in, and just continue to like grow like the Mecca. So I'm gonna digress on that one and let you guys rock out.
Thanks for sharing that, man.
No problem.
Definitely. What do you think about the relationship stuff we was talking about in 3? You know what I mean? I don't know if you heard some of that, of what Miss Polly was saying. And what I was sharing.
That was the part like I kind of missed because I had to mute everything before joining up. But the last part I only got was like, but I don't know if you was like, using it as a fictitious reference, but it sounds like, and I could be wrong, but Miss Polly, sounds like, okay, there was like a relationship that maybe, or some type of connection that you got into with someone, and maybe that person wasn't the one that you thought he was, but I'm not for sure. I'm just only assuming.
No, that was just a point of reference. It was a point of reference. That didn't really happen.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I don't know, Miss Polly. If it did, then you can share, but I would just use it as a point of reference.
I'll tell you. Okay, so so I always ask like, what one thing is bad about you as a person, right? Like, so I actually am Like even though I'm group mentality minded and stuff, I think one thing about me that's not the greatest thing that I like, but I work on is detaching from people. Because once I'm attached, like fully attached, that's it. Like there really is no like we ain't functioning together. So I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's just how it is for me. So if someone was, let's say, cause okay, so there is my kids, their dad. Me and him, like now, like viewing back on that in hindsight, I know, I think I knew then also that the relationship was more, you give me what I need, and I give you what you need, and at that time that's all I needed, right? So when your needs start to change as you get older or whatever, it changes. So that those needs were like, okay, that's cool, but like I need something else, and you don't know how to give that to me. Instead of being like, forget this relationship, like I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, okay, let's work on how you can meet those needs if it's possible, and emotionally or whatnot. There was times I've mentioned to him that I was like, I feel like you like the idea of me, but you don't actually care or love me. And I said, I understand, because we went into this knowing, hey, this is what I can give you, you can give me, but we need to change that narrative now because we're past that. And I think he wasn't in a place it was on both of us. I'll say that we weren't in a place that we could focus on that. And so that was just like, it just unfortunately didn't work out. But when we still work and function as a group, like it's not going to change. If he needs something, I'll be there. I know people are like, oh, well, you moved on. Yeah, I moved on. But like, if there's a real need, like if something happened to you, you're still part of, my life, especially my children and stuff like that. So we group mentality think about it. So like, if he's like, oh, I got a job here, he's like, would you want to move there? Even if we're not together, can you move there? Would you like to move there? And like those kind of decisions we still make as a whole. And then I would ask one of my partners and things like that. Like we move like that. So, me and being like, something didn't work out, like it'd have to be extreme. That'd be extreme, like they're hitting me, but I probably wouldn't date anyone to do that. So it'd have to be something extreme, because I just don't give up on people.
Okay, but do you believe there's a time and place to be like, this is the queen, I'm glad that you stepped in? Is there a time and place where it's kind of like, all right, enough is enough? Like, all right, he is showing me that he does not want to be there. He is showing me that he does not care about me the way that he cares about me, right? Mm-hmm. Shouldn't there be a time? Like,
I don't think I ever had.
Shouldn't there be a time and place where you're like, I'm just done with this guy?
I never had that. Yeah, I never had that. Like not a long-term one where I'm fully invested. Not like that. I've had someone where you're starting to date them, and like, they saying one thing and now the lies are starting to come out because you're starting to see the real person, and then you're like, hey, listen, this isn't working out. We're not matching. Peace out. Like that happened, but like after the long-term ones, nah, not like that. After 6-7 months in, I haven't had that kind of situation where it's not something that could be talked about and worked on.
Let me ask you a question. So like because of like kind of like your experience like with your kid's dad and having struggles when you're in like the long-term relationships, that it's affecting you now with the short-term relationships, because you mentioned earlier in the beginning about being detached. So like, let's say for instance, like, how does that affect, like, okay, I'm not talking about like your baby dad, I mean your kid's fathers now, but how does that affect like in between, like, okay, like your relationships like with your partners? Because you're Miss Polly, so like most of the time, like you're gonna be encountering, I would say, like, other like groups of men that you may develop some sort of feelings or maybe some type of bond, and I don't want to use the term add to your roster, but it is going to multiply. You know what I mean, Miss Polly?
I do. So like now I know that. So like I said before, like this my children's dad, like, that's on him that we were like I was 17 when I first met him. So like these being, off and on with him for many years, that is, not off and on for me. Like, when I first met him I was 17 and then I kind of didn't get with him right away and officially and kind of kept going off and on. But now I know that was what I was doing. I was looking at him as this is a man who's a good provider. He's consistent. He doesn't mind me being able to. I'm very free. I mean, he lets me do a lot. I let him do lots. I go where I want it, and do what I want. Not like I was running around messing with people, but I was able to move really like how I wanted to. It wasn't like I didn't feel caged in. I felt very open to talk about what I like. We were good friends about things, so I didn't feel that. But now I know that at that time in my life, I was looking for that stability. And that was all I was looking for. And if you met kind of that stability place, that was what I was told that you should be looking for. I was told that many times I was pushed to talk to him multiple times because of that. Oh, he's a great guy. He's very stable. Why wouldn't you want him? And okay, that's what kind of started off as. And then later on, I'm like, okay, we got stuff in common, all these things. Yeah, and I just was like, okay. And he went into it knowing that I would be a person who was going to take charge and be in control of that thing and move things and come up with ideas. We actually helped each other a lot. So that's what made the bond work. So now I know when I go in a relationship, I don't want it to be dependent on those kind of things because that's not all I want. That's just basically what I do.
Okay, so you're trying to avoid like men basically you're trying to avoid needy men. Okay, but you're gonna encounter like those. Yeah, but like okay, when you develop in certain relationships, okay, there's gonna be times like where the man is gonna need you just as much as you're gonna need him. Unless, are you looking for like a balance?
I'm at a place in my life I want unconditional, and that's what I have. So I have my unconditional with my partner. A lot of people don't like me to say that, so I don't bring it up too much. But I'm unconditional, and the place where I want unconditional love. I don't want love based on if things that change like that. So I don't want that kind of relationship. So I'm not looking for that. So if someone comes in here and trying to red flag for me is a man trying to show me a lot of stuff, like trying to pay all that. It triggers me because it reminds me of like that time in my life when I was younger where I wanted that. And so then now I just know that I just don't go into it like that because I don't want you to also feel like I'm using you. So it's both sides. And you have to work on it. You have to find a balance. You're right. You have to find a balance. So that's why it takes time to vet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just taking a balance because I have my own issues too that obviously I was just with someone for a long time. And so I don't want to also repeat being that person. And I want to be someone, a little bit better than that. So obviously I'm going to try my best not to find people who, I'm overly dependent on because then I'm not also doing my part. That's how I feel.
So kind of like an interdependent type of relationship where it's like you have your own dependency like as an individual, like you're independent as an individual, but you know how to come together. I'm not saying just to like, when shit hit the fan, but you come together because it's like you have that balance. It's like that love is like, hey, I'm here for you. Just as you're here, you're there, you're going to be there for that guy. Because when you're asking for unconditional love, that's like, Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, McFarland. That's all.
I was just actually listening deeply, trying to read between the lines of what you're saying, because I think I understand what you mean, Miss Polly. I guess my question to you would be this new train of thought you have to dating. when you say that it's triggering if a man like overly pursues or overly pays for this and that, right? Because it's gonna like establish a setting that or put you in a category of depending on that man, right? So I guess my only question would be, are you expecting men to just assume that about you when you meet like new men in your dating life today? Or like, are you gonna give like space for men to figure that out about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna talk about it in the conversation. And I know I do want to depend on my partners because that's really important too. I would need to trust and depend on someone to have my best in mind, and I have to trust that they have that. So it's like it's part of that too. So when someone starts doing it a lot, it triggers me because I always felt like I was being purchased. And that's something that's just triggering for me. You know, all the over gifting, all that stuff. It triggers me to be like, what's this really about? And I don't like it. It makes me feel like I'm being purchased. So that's just something that triggered me.
So when you say you do want to depend on a man, what does that entail? Like, what do you mean exactly?
Like from different things, not like, not financially to that extent, but more of there if I need you, for emotional wreck, I need your support. If I need someone to encourage me, I need someone to, have my back, to provide me with not only good things about myself, but tell me bad things about myself so I can fix it. Trying to uplift me to be the better person. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want the person who's always telling me I'm great, because that doesn't help me be great. It helps me stay still. So like those things I'll take into account. So I do want a partner to hold me accountable also. And I want to do the same for them.
Okay, so I have another question there. Because it's well,
hold on 1 second, M3. I just want to see if Queen got something to say real quick. Quiet. Queen, anything you want to share?
I don't know what you guys are talking about, so yeah, I'll just stake my foot. Yeah, what's up, spaceman?
What up, Queen? How you doing?
I'm all right. Hey, Polly.
Hi.
Hi, Dark Lake. Yeah, I don't know what the topic is because I heard M3 mention QB, so I know you put on a show of hers earlier. I don't know what the topic is, so yeah, I'm okay.
It's okay. We all vibing. It's all good.
Yeah. But it's good to see you, off your parole. So welcome back, man.
Well, I appreciate the bail money. Bail me out next time. I got you. I'm gonna send you my bail bondsman. Okay.
Hey, well, salute to the people who with the super chat. So, but yeah, man. Yeah, I was wrong.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I'll make it quick, Dark Link. It's everything that you're describing, Ms. Pie. It sounds like you're describing of a male friend, pretty much. But my other question is that well, you have two partners still, right? Okay, three. So the three partners that you have, don't they give you, at least one of them give you certain type of qualities where, they'll tell you, maybe the truth when it's needed? Don't you have one that maybe will say, hey, give you that emotional time and that connection when it's needed? Or are you looking for another partner to have those type of qualities all in one?
No, they all do it. They all do it. I think one of the things I do like about it is sometimes when you're in the moment with someone, like let's say if I have an argument with one partner, I'll call up and be like, hey, listen, maybe I was wrong. I was okay. Situation. And I'll be like, because they know each other. So then it's not like you just take it against, he's not stabbing that thin air. I'll be like, hey, maybe I was being a jerk. And then maybe I was. Should I stand firm on this? Am I being ridiculous? And so that's helpful. That's really helpful. But overall, I think we all help each other just to see things differently. Because I mean, we've had conversations together, like on podcasts, where I thought were very interesting. Some of them were like, is love an action or a feeling? Like we've had that conversation. And trying to get the other person to come, because there's three of us at that time, and we're trying to get the other one to come over to the other side and see who's going to convince who.
Wait, Miss Polly, are you saying that like one partner will like it's common for one partner to give you advice about what's going on with the other partner?
Yeah, but it's not about them. It's about me. My response is to them.
Oh damn, you must got some bomb. No, I'm just playing. That's what it's.
I was like, good question.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Anyway,
But think about it. Have you ever heard someone say the comment like, sometimes if one person says something, okay, but if two people say it, then it's probably you. That's how it is. Sometimes I'll be like, is it me? Or I'll hear someone be like, you do this. And I'm like, yeah. Then I'll hear that one say, oh, you do this. And I'm like, let me self-reflect. There's two
Miss
against
Polly.
one.
Yeah, I feel you. Miss Polly, here's the thing, right? And this is just my opinion. I don't know your life personally. I don't know you, right? Sure. I think that if you're already getting the things that you say you want in a new partner and wherever new guy that you meet, I no offense to you. I'm kind of known to keeping it blunt, and I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't know you personally. I don't know your partners or anything like that. So please take it with a grain of salt. I don't mean no disrespect to you. But listen, I think it's kind of ridiculous for you to be getting that same scenario that you're saying, like you were saying that, I don't need to be coddled. I want you to tell me what's wrong with me so I can fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just that what people crave, sane people like you, sane people crave from other people, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're already getting that from 3 other people, right? Then I feel like just to make things simple and for you to to increase your probability for just like meeting someone you vibe with and spending the rest of your life with, I feel like let them just be a regular man. Whatever that entails, whatever that comes with, just let that person be like the guy who wants to pay for the first date or give you gifts or whatever, right? Since you're already getting what you're asking for from 3 other men. I mean, I could be out of bounds here, but do you think that's fair?
I'm trying to understand what you mean. Wait, I'm trying to understand what you mean. So wait, I saw one until you added the let someone else buy me stuff part.
Well, no, yeah. What I'm saying is, you said something specific that you wanted from a new partner, right? You were saying,
"Oh, I'm not looking right now." I haven't been really actually actively always looking for a minute. So, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Well, no, I'm not saying you're looking. I'm not saying you're looking, but you did express, what you wanted in a dude. Like if you were looking, like you were saying. Yeah, you were saying that for the guy you don't want a scenario to exist again where you're fully dependent on a guy, right? Where in different actions, right, can lead you to thinking you're in that category. If a guy is overly pursuing, spending money on this and that, you feel like it's going to put you into a sense of dependency. But what you really want, which is fine, what you really want is someone to confide in, someone who will hold you accountable to be your best self, right? That's essentially not verbatim, but what you were saying, right?
Yeah, I'm not adding the two together. I was just giving a scenario of what would trigger me at the time. As I evolved from that is something that I've had to work on. So I'm not triggered by that anymore. Like now, I'm like, okay, you want to take me out dinner? You want to pay? Okay, cool. Like I'm not in that place anymore, but I was. So that's what I was saying. Like I no longer am triggered by those things, but I was. So that is something, but it's still, even though I say, even though it's something that I've worked on, it's still initially, if it's an overabundance of it, I'll be like, and I just keep it moving. I know that that's a process, and there are some men who show their love by giving, and I have to know that is a form of being loved too. So, like I said, that's the process that's taking place. But like Free said, the men I am getting what I need. Like each relationship, it's a fulfillment. It's not like, oh, I'm missing something, so let me find someone else. That's not what it is, because I am there as a whole person, and I'm giving them me, as a whole person. I know people get stressed about the time difference and sharing that, and I understand that. But if I have the capacity to do such, if I can have capacity for someone in my life, I can choose to make that a space for them. If that's something that we both decide on. It's not. I'm not like holding anyone hostage.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, they can leave in time. You know, it's not like, oh, you got. That's why I like unconditional love, because there's no really real reason for you to be here other than you want to be. That's amazing. I don't care anybody. That's amazing. You're here because you want to be. It's not because you help pay something. It's not because I have kids with you. It's not because of anything else, but you want to be here because you enjoy me and I enjoy you. And that's it.
Well, see, the thing is, too, is that, like, and that's how it should be. But, like, you know, when you were younger, that's not what it was. When you were younger, there were conditions to these guys that you met, right? And that's what most men, when they go into the dating market, that's the scenario that we're accustomed to. You know, we're kind of like, it's almost in our DNA at this point. If you have nothing to provide, she ain't giving you the time or day, right?
Yeah,
so I just wish
absolutely.
that women, like young people in general, men and women, I wish they shared that same sentiment that you have now, like when they're first starting dating, because I feel like it would just heal a lot of shit, in my opinion.
Nobody wants to love unconditional nowadays. They want to love conditional because it's tangible. And people believe in tangible things. Tangible. That means I can keep you here because of this. Or you'll think twice about leaving because of this. And then that also allows you room to do what you want to do, because you're like, oh, they're not going to leave, because if they leave, they're going to pay child support. I'm not saying everybody thinks like that. I'm just saying there are people who think like that. There's people who would think, you know, like I said, the gentleman my children's dad, when we were going through our time when we were kind of separated, you know, he made a comment. He hated that I worked, but I love to work, but he hated that I worked. And he would tell me sometimes, he was like, you make money, so I can't tell you what to do. And I would be like, what? I'm like, sure you can tell me what to do. Why not? And then he thought that was crazy. I was like, why wouldn't you be able to tell me what to do? We're a team. But he didn't see it that way. He saw it as he didn't have any control because I was working.
So, Ms. Polly, let me ask you this: are you looking, right, from the things that you have said about the type of partnerships that you like to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I think this is a human thing, right? Anybody can answer this on the panel, right?
Right.
I'm just basically asking you this just based on the word that you shared, right? That's all
Yes,
I'm
sir.
doing is based on. So,
Okay.
are you looking for that one supreme love, right? I think we all have that in mind. I think men have that in mind too, right? Whether they're out here being players or whatever else. I think women have that in mind, right? We have in our mind the ideal mate, right? That one person, right? Definitely, Dark Lake. I'm gonna holler at you, man. You know where to find me. I'll speak to you tomorrow. You already know.
God bless you guys. And hey, let's just remember that we're all doing it. We're none of us perfect. We're gonna go through problems with dating and all that with the opposite gender, whatever. But as long as we keep trying, you feel me? God bless you guys. Peace.
Definitely, you too, brother. So, are you looking just for that one supreme love, like that one that you just think about? You're like, yo, this is my ideal love, right? I want somebody to do this, and this, right? And if they did that, and that, and I did this, that, and that, like we have that in mind, right? We want somebody that, let's say, we like to travel. Want somebody that like to travel. You want somebody that like to watch documentaries, or we want somebody that like to watch you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Let's say they like to watch, movies about, nature or whatever, right? We have this in our mind, this ideal person, right? We may have never met anybody like this, right? Or we may have come close, right? But we all in our mind have this ideal person. Some people may think that this may be a figment of our imagination, right? Some people have been called crazy for seeking this, right? So no, I'm being honest. I'm being real, right? Men and women both. So there'll be men that be like, man, I want a woman that reminds me of my mama, right? We've heard this before, right? I want a woman that reminds me of my mama, right? She got to do this, and she got to know how to make things from scratch. And my mom used to do this. My mama, you know what I mean? He's naming all these qualities that his mom had that he admires, that now he wants in a mate, right? He's specifically looking for these qualities. Whether You know what I mean? Modern women nowadays learn how to cook from scratch or not. This is what he wants, right? He wants to use a cast iron, skillet. He want the whole nine, right? He don't want nothing traditional or modern completely. The only thing traditional or modern that could be about her is her cell phone. That's about it. Everything else, or maybe her car. But everything else, she got to be kind of like traditional when it comes to certain things, right? Man, she got to fold my blankets on the right side because my mom used to fold on the right side. And that's how I like it. You know what I'm saying? So he wants everything. And I know, like I said, this may sound crazy, right? But I think we all, in some shape or form, all human beings, we all do this, right? Let's be honest. We all do this, right? Every single last one of us. And we not only do that with our mates, but we do that with like career stuff, right? We have an ideal job in our mind. We have an ideal place we want to live, right? Or a location, right? Man, if I lived in that community, my whole life would be better. You don't know nothing about the neighbors. You don't know nothing like about what they do. You know, if the neighbors are racist or whatever, you ain't thinking about that. You just want to be in that community because you believe that community will change your life. You know what I'm saying? If I only lived in LA, I'll be so much better. But you don't know what that's going to bring in your life. You just believe that. So is it the same way when it comes to seeking a mate? Are you looking for that ideal person that just checks all the boxes that you're looking for?
Let me ask you two questions. Do you think that, I've asked you this before, that there's only one person that can meet all your needs?
I think it could be
Never.
one person. He said never. Wow, damn.
Okay.
I think it could be. I'm not saying it can't. I'm saying it could be one person that meets what you're looking for complete, right? It could be, right? It could be. That could be something that happens. Does it happen often? No. So what M3 is saying is correct, where the probability of it is very, very, very slim. You probably have a better chance of probably getting struck by lightning or some other variation of things, which I know people don't tell you this, right? They don't want to hurt your little feelings. They want you to believe in love and whatever else. But you probably had a better chance of probably hitting the lottery than you finding somebody that meets really all your needs, probably, right?
So,
let's be honest.
Okay, well, then that will conclude the answer that there is no real person that meets all your needs that's going to hit all these things because no one's perfect. So then there isn't really any true, like, this is like the perfect situation that will ever come up. You'll get close, and you can get close multiple times. So, I mean, even if you had a list, I think because of the fact that you know this statement is true too, and there's always going to be someone bigger and better than you, right? Always. And with time, unfortunately, we get, less special with age and all those kind of great things. So what I'm saying is that even if I was to see someone that is nice and amazing, there's always going to be someone else to top them. So I think that's a lot of issues too, with people. They'll find this boyfriend, they think they're so amazing, and then 2 years later, they find someone else who seems more amazing. So you just switching partners every time you find the next one. That just shows that you just basically are trying to find that one person and no one else matters because you're worried about the ideal person that doesn't really exist in the first place.
Or could it be? Okay, I'm gonna let you go in 3. Or could it be pulled away by desire? Right? I'm not talking. Wait, hold on, because I'm not talking about essentially desire, right? Because yes, we could have a brand new Lamborghini, right? But we see a McLaren come down the street and be like, I don't want my Lamborghini no more. I want a McLaren. You know what I mean? Like, it could just be that quick, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's a desire. The Lamborghini may have better features, maybe a faster car, maybe a better car, maybe worth more money, right? But we see that McLaren, and that's what we want now. We're not thinking about nothing else, right? Because that's what we desire. But what we need is all right there in that Lamborghini. They got everything we need, right? And if we really did the research, which most people don't do, right? That will make us see that we have everything that we need. So it could be the same thing with a person. That person could be everything you need, but are you really doing the research to see that? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so
what
if
if
everything
you need?
Well, if everything you needed was to steer something and to make sure the windows were clean, that means a Toyota Camry also could be something that meets all your needs too. Why get an extra upgrade?
She said a Toyota Camry. Lord have mercy.
I'm saying because you're going to Lamborghini. What if there's a Toyota Camry? because that's not everybody's needs. Like, remember, we have to go needs, wants, right? So your wants might be something you're like, oh, I can do without some of the extra stuff. All I need is basic. So you're basically telling me the ones who meet your basic needs are good too. And then the one that you found, but you found a Lamborghini that had a little bit of extra, so she's great too. So you have to, you see what I'm saying? So you're still making it seem as if there's more than one.
The problem is we're always going to struggle with something that we want. Like anything that we need it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be there. You know what I mean? So from cars or to like having like a place to stay, okay? Anyone, you know, if you have like maybe like a good job or decent job or whatever, maybe if you have some roommates or so to help cover certain portions of rent, you know, your need is basically to not be homeless. Now you have a place to stay, but of course you're not going to be content. And let's just say like, okay, you have a place of your own, like you live on your own or whatever, you have a good job that's covering those things, but now the home is not good enough because the novelty wore off. The problem with us, with like just humans in period, right, is that like we have everything that's taken care of, right, through the eyes of the beholder or whatever, but we're never going to be fully content because we see stuff, whether it be on TV or advertisement, and then it makes us feel like what we really want is going to be now a need. You know what I mean? And then that also like applies to like, you know, relationships. You have a person that could, let's just say you find a person that could give you everything, almost anything that you want, which is still damn near impossible. But let's just say to like at least like maybe at the bare minimum, the person is like giving you the love, the romance. The person is giving you something that like maybe things that you probably need financially, but you just know that that person provides some type of security. And again, like you said before, there's always going to be someone that's going to be even better than that person. You know what I mean? Now the thing is, what you're going to do when that novelty from that person wears off, and you're like, man, there's a new guy out there, and he's doing things 2 times greater than what that person is doing. You know?
Mm-hmm. So now you have to do, I get what you're saying, but now this is when it comes into, is it worth it? That is what you have to conclude. Is it worth it, and can you do it? And that's how, those are one of the top things you think. Do I have the capacity to have another partner? Do I have enough to give to another partner so that they can feel the, you know, the same kind of energy giving the other one? What are their needs and wants? So am I going to pour into them what they want and need?
Or is your love, or is your love truly unconditional on your end?
And then sometimes the answer is no. Like the answer is no. And why do you, and another question is, like you said, if I'm sitting here with the people I'm with now, right, and we have everything flowing, everything's going right, and I just see something shiny, that's impulsive. That's impulsive because you're lusting. At that point, you're lusting because you don't know anything about that person. Don't know anything about them, and you don't know how they're contributing to your whole, as a whole. So now at this point, you're just envious of what others have or others want. So you have to really put that in check too. You have to put that in check. There's a lot of guys that are like, oh, yeah, they're never cool, but they don't fit. They don't match. They don't belong here. And it could be something not because they're not a good person, just because I'm like, oh, you know what? You know, I see that you could have something greater, and it's not here with us, or this isn't, you know, something I think you're to be part of and make greater, and that's just what it is. So it's also being selfless, because you're not worried about just you're worried about them also. So even though I don't know the person I'm maybe vetting to that degree, I get to know them and start seeing, okay, you know what? You have things that are going on that aren't on the same path as us. Just because you look good or I like you doesn't change that fact. So I have to be the one to say no. And that's a big thing to do, because you can still want someone and still tell them no. It takes a lot of self-control to do something like that. So working on all those things as a person really helps you be better when you're out here dating. And I have
I
partners
do.
who help me too. I'm not alone in this. I have other partners who are like, hey, you know what? That person maybe doesn't look like they, how would they fit in here? I get asked lots of questions from everyone. So it's a group process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not okay. So I'm not discounting the fact. You know what I mean? In the 10 minutes, I'm gonna end this. We can chop it up in the background if y'all want. You know how I do. But yeah, okay. I'm not denying the fact of what you're saying, right? Like, and that's what I'm actually speaking to. I'm speaking to, like, yes, you actually are looking for an ideal person, not because you're lusting after them, but because you actually have done your research, right? And you see that this person is genuinely everything you've been looking for, right? This is not somebody. It's not like you just walk into a supermarket, you see Idris Elba and you're like, oh yeah, I gotta have that. You know what I mean? I'm not talking like that. I'm talking about you actually have gotten to know this person, you've invested in them, and you're like, yo, this is everything I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Because you basically have you have either gone out or you have done different things, or you've had conversations about your morals, values, your beliefs, your hobbies, right? Things of interest, right? Passions, career, everything else. And you're like, yo, this is the person that I need to be with this person. You know what I mean? I need to be with them. They are what I am looking for. You know what I'm saying? And I think
How
everybody
would you
has
like
that.
us to answer that? A monogamous mind? If you're dating up to someone else and you find someone who else who you believe you should truly be with, then you should break up the other person and be with that one person. But in my mind, because I'm not, if I find someone who qualifies to be a person who is high matching with me, then match with me. Nothing else changes. My love for the other people doesn't change. So why? What changes?
Because, right, you and I've seen this, right? I've seen this with a lot of celebrities, right? A lot of celebrities, they'll be with somebody, right? Because I've been like, y'all know I watch a lot of documentaries. Y'all know that, right? I'm a documentary head. You know that. I've said it plenty of times, right? And a lot of these great people that we love, right? We're like, oh, this is my hero. I love them, right? They have more than one marriage, right? They have more than one of this, right? Or more than one of that, right? And these are people that we admire. We love them, right? But for some reason, right, they didn't just have one relationship. You know what I mean? They found something, and then the relationship that they known to have or the person they known to be with wasn't their first go around. It maybe was their second or third or whatever else, right? We see it in the media all the time, right? We can use Will and Jada. We can use Will and Jada. We can use anybody, right? We can use any example. Steve Harvey,
Did
anybody.
they break up?
No. I'm just using it as a point of reference, right?
Oh,
because Will Smith was married before Jada Pinkett. He had a first wife before her. You know what I mean? Who his oldest son is by, right? Now,
and he had a desire to be with someone else the whole time. He said I really wanted to be with a different person, so it didn't matter. And on top of that, his wife probably wanted to be monogamous. So he's saying that, hey, I actually wanted this the whole time, but I settled for you. But now I have an opportunity to be with what I really wanted to be with. So now I'm removing myself. So that didn't change anything. It's just that he just settled so he could have a life that he was dreaming of, even if it wasn't with the person that he'd like to have it with.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not disagreeing with your point, Ms. Polly. What I'm theoretically saying, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off, but what I'm theoretically saying is this, right? Theoretically, what I'm saying is that there is times where we, like I said, even the people that we admire, that we love, right? We see that they have been with somebody or married multiple times, right? Steve Harvey too, right? I think it's his fourth wife or third wife, however many it was, right? And I'm not bashing him. All I'm trying to say is that all the people that we have admired or we try to look for as, oh, those are the ideal relationships. That wasn't the person they started out with. Like, they started out with somebody else. And now we see this and we're like, oh, okay. And then they're like, oh, this is the person of my dreams. But like, yo, what happened to their first wife or their first husband? Like, what? I thought that was the one. Right? So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm saying that, like, or some people, they may meet that one person, like Denzel, right? He only had one wife, right? He never had nobody else. I think Samuel Jackson's the same way too. where you only have one wife, you never, I think, marry nobody else outside her. So yes, it is possible, right? So we do have people where they have been with one person, and that's been it. You know what I mean? So I think that you could find that one person that you truly want to be with. The first time that can happen, right? Or it may take you multiple times. But I think ideally we all are just seeking that one true person, right? We all are seeking that. And we're
I
not
don't.
satisfied
I think
till we
that there's
find that.
some. I think there's some who are like that, and I think that's wonderful. But I don't think it's everyone, because not everyone is in that mind. I know, I get understand. It's like a different mindset for me. Like I'm like, oh, let me find this person. This person wasn't the first one that I was originally with, but yet, this is the next one. I think it's based, and then those people you named are older, and divorce is not something that they just be like, oh, F it. That there it also comes with that a generation of people who didn't leave each other, no matter what. So there is that's part of it too. So now we're in the age of people who see freely to move differently. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying they do. And it's not based on anything other than, can you give me what I want? Can I give you what I need? And that's why I said, no, I don't want conditional, because it's so easy to tie in conditional relationships and be scarred by that very badly. You see people who have married and then they get a divorce, but they don't have enough money to move into their own home, so they still live in the same house as their partners for long periods of time, even though they're not together. Those aren't good things, but it happens. So I don't think the dependency has a lot to do with our economics and all that. But being with someone, yeah, you want to find anybody. They want to find someone they have a good time with, they enjoy their life with, they want to spend their life with. I agree with that, but I don't think it's limited to everyone to only want one person. And I say you even want one person, that you could find more than one person. Because if that was the case that we talked about earlier, monogamy, it means you find one and then there is none. It means when your partner dies or something happens to them, there is no other. And we as people are not. We are serial monogamous. And so once we're, what you just explained, find someone, you have great time with them, enjoy them, and then when a time ends, it ends, and then you move on. So that means that we're not the traditional monogamy wording itself. So, I mean, it works for some people, and that's good. I think that's wonderful. If they find someone, they marry with them, and they're sticking it and don't give up, I feel like I have that same energy. It's just with more than one person. So it's just different. There's people who've been poly decades, years. There's a couple of them I think up offhand. There's like these three men. They were homosexual men, but they were together and one of their partners died, unfortunately. They had been together for like 45 years. These are not short-term relationships. And people who are usually poly like that, they're very quiet about it. I'm more louder. I've dated people who are like, yeah, I've been poly since years and years and decades, and they're with their partner still. It's not something that's short term, but they have to be quiet about it because of the stigma behind it. So they're very quiet.
Okay, but okay. So you want so you not only do you desire unconditional love, but you also provide unconditional love for the most part with your partners, right? That's what you provide, and that's what you desire. But so ideally, you're saying that the thing that you provide and the thing that you desire, you want to seek that with multiple people, because that's hard to do,
but
and that's hard to maintain.
Yet I do it, and others do too. I'm not alone. It's just, I think I'm just louder with it. I'm not alone. I mean, there's like literally, like I've dated police officers, I've dated detectives, I've dated all kinds of people. It doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter what job they do. It doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. I've dated younger people, and I'm not saying that. I'm saying, or they're interested in me. It's because that's not what it's about. And that's what it really is about, having that long, they're really in search of long-term love. That's what it is. It's like everyone else.
Okay, so my question is that, are you fully content? 100%.
Yeah. And if because someone asked me this too, like if one of my, because I think I'm at the point of closing. I'm at the point of closing. So that's what I was been doing anyway. But it's not necessarily because of me, but it's just for the whole purpose of our pod and everything. I think I'm to the point of closing, and that basically means like I'm just whoever I'm with. So those people fall, like when something doesn't work out, I don't add more. It's just that's it, because I feel like I have long-term partners. I have lifetime partners I will spend my life with. So this is something I'm coming to that place where, you know, obviously like that's my goal. So then anything outside of that's not relevant.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that makes sense.
Let me say this last point, because I'm in this right now. Man, thank y'all all for tuning in and watching us, man. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna play my outro. I'm just gonna end this. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
Okay.
With that being said, y'all, salute to QB, salute to her family, salute to everybody, man. With that, I am out, y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow on Smitty's Corner. Peace.
Okay.